My kind of town, Yakima. That was pretty bitchin'. Let's see. It is 5:47. I'm Danny Bonaduce. This is KZOK. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm on pins and needles.
I used to do that, and then I quit. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, kids.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, there. The whole class is here. So, I went to Yakima.
Yeah. The Palm Springs of Washington.
Well, no. Really? As long as you're going to bring that up. No, not even a little bit. Not in a bad way. I mean, I guess it's the weather when I was there.
Was it warm or nice?
It was warm and nice.
Oh,
what was it like here?
Warm and nice.
Yeah.
Warm and nice,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's the point of Palm Springs. It's warmer and nicer. That did not happen, to be honest with you. But I totally dug it. You know how I go to Juneau, Alaska every year?
Yeah.
Weirdest little town in the whole wide world.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm telling you this, that Yakima is the Juneau of the great Northeast, or whatever the hell the sign says.
Wow.
Like I said, not in a bad. I like it. I pay a
like
lot of
Juneau.
money to go to Juneau every year and eat crab and hang out at the Viking Lounge and stuff. I really do like it. Here's the thing: when they say Palm Springs and Yakima being similar, when you go to Palm Springs, it's about 50,000 people, and that's about the same as Yakima, almost the same. But when you go to 3rd Street in Yakima, you're done for 100 miles in every single direction. When you get to 3rd Street in Palm Springs, you're just going to Rancho Mirage. It's all the Coachella Valley. There's 1 million people in the Coachella Valley, all these interlocked cities. So in that sense, like you could go a year or 2 in Palm Springs and never eat in the same restaurant. And that's my goal in life is food and the foodie
There's that
situation.
many restaurants there?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't say that right. You're at the end of Palm Springs looking at the next city, and there's a really good restaurant. In that sense, yeah, no, in Palm Springs, no matter what you do, it's still 50,000 people strong. It just connects to 8 other cities. Rancho Mirage, La Quinta, a bunch of others, desert cities. Yakima doesn't.
Yakima's kind of by itself.
Oh, by itself. And it's so funny because it's cool to drive around. Like there's the 2nd Street Grill. Somebody must have just dropped $1 million into this. You could put that absolutely in the Palm Springs or wherever the hell we are, or any other great place, a great restaurant. And that's it for about 1.5 miles. And then you would think, well, 1.5 miles, so what? You could walk. Yes, you could, but you'd reach the end of Yakima.
So there are some gems, just not many of them.
Right. And then there's some cool little quirky places. It hit 5 o'clock somewhere, so Amy wanted to have a drink. And so we went into this it looked like a very traditional mom and pop Italian restaurant. And so we're sitting there and I don't know, I can't quite place what's happening. There's something on right at Bonafortuna's or whatever the name of this restaurant is. And some real Palm Springs looking people. There are certain people you get to Palm Springs and they've just been out in the sun a lot and they've had a lot to drink. And this place is kind of, I'm digging it, but something's wrong with Bonafortuna's. And I notice you're wearing a lei around your neck, lady. Why are you wearing a lei around your neck? That other lady's wearing a lei around their neck. And Amy said, what's that drink over there? And there's a couple of drinks on a tray ready to be delivered. And the lady goes, well, that's a Blue Hawaii. And Amy says, well, I'll have one of those. And she grabs it off the tray. And it was just about to go to a customer. And she's going, there you go. I just made it. It's fresh.
That's service right there.
Except for that guy.
Yeah. Who cares about that guy?
So they're trying to spruce things up a little bit in Yakima and make it a Hawaiian night at the Bonafortuna restaurant.
Oh, funny.
But my by far favorite thing, and there's banners all over the city for it, the car show. It happens either Saturday and Sunday, one Saturday and Sunday in the summer all year, and people wait, and they come from miles around, and oh my goodness, the car show.
And were you there for that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
That was good timing.
Yeah, well, it's a moving exhibit.
Oh, like a parade.
Well, yes, except that would imply people to look upon it. It's just like every now and again you'd turn around because you'd hear blah, 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 and it'd be some gnarly teenager with an old Buick he'd done terrible things to, and that was the car show.
So
like
weird.
a lot of it was weird, but every time anything's weird, to be honest with you, my likability, is that right? Well, you know what I mean, goes up. I dig it more and more and more. Like I said, Juneau's one of my favorite places. So we will definitely go back. There's one thing I wanted more than anything in the whole world, and that's a picture with a sign that says "Welcome to Yakima," the The Palm Springs of your mom's house, or whatever it says. Oh, it definitely says Yakima, Palm Springs, or something.
Yeah.
Well, that sign that you see if you go online and look for it and stuff, there's no way to get there and not break the law and be possibly killed.
What do you mean? It's not like right when you get to town. It's not just like, welcome to the Palm Springs
You'd
of your
think
mom's
so,
house.
wouldn't you?
Like with the Las Vegas sign, there's a little park there and a parking lot.
So where do they hide it?
Well, we had to, because you see it as you go by. You go, well, that's it. That happens. Wait a minute. I got to do that better so you understand. Well, that's it. Did that work? Does everyone know what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think so.
So I want a picture with it so I can come back and tell you guys a decent story. And you have to have stopped on the freeway right then. And by the way, when you see it, it's kind of too late. It's not, I see it up there by that off-ramp. Nope, it's gone.
Oh.
And you're several miles away by the time you can start your look to get it back. And
Well, Yakima's over at that point, right?
that's exactly, by the way, yes. And so we go around and we follow the freeway to get back there. And it's like the closest thing to it is a parking lot in like a warehouse or something like that. And there's people with balloons and stuff, a husband and wife, it looks like, with balloons. So I go, you trying to get the picture with that thing too? And they went, no, in a real grumpy kind of way. They didn't even know what we're talking about. So I said I was trying to get a picture with it because it's important to me. Don't you worry about it. And he goes, oh, you playing Gray's game? I just went, yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed to be so much easier. Gray's scavenger hunt. That's what it was. He said, you playing Gray's scavenger hunt? And I said, oh, yeah. I'm playing it. Would you take a picture of me with the stupid sign? Which they did. And so let me just say, in closing, Your Honor, Yakima, great place, just no Palm Springs.
News is brought to you by Car Pros Renting Kia. Tumwater police are investigating what looks like a wild crime spree that left 2 people shot and a suspect dead in a Walmart parking lot last night. This person who was being called the suspect was apparently killed by a bystander who pulled his gun out and shot the suspect. So, peculiar story. According to authorities, it all started about 5:30. Reports of a drunk driver going down the road the wrong way. Officers arrived at the scene. They got a call about a carjacking and shots fired. There, officers found an injured 16-year-old girl and no suspect. Her injury is not life-threatening. Then police got a call of another count of shots fired, and that was at the Walmart. Police said the suspect from the earlier carjacking went into Walmart and fired shots at a display case. Nobody inside the store was hurt. That suspect then went to the parking lot and tried to carjack a car and shot the driver when he refused to cooperate. He then tried to carjack a separate car, and that's when a bystander intervened, pulled his own gun out, and shot the suspect dead.
Wow. You hear about that, and that's President Trump and his ilk always say something like, nothing stops a bad guy with a gun like a good guy with a gun.
Right.
I don't know. It seems awful messy and weird, but, there's no guarantee that guy wasn't going to shoot that 16-year-old girl. So God bless the bystander, right?
Yeah, and in this case, the witness accounts say there were actually 3 different bystanders who pulled guns, and one of them actually shot the guy. So obviously, don't do crime in Tumwater.
Yeah,
seriously.
I just watched the story on the treadmill, and that was not a development yet. So more than one guy drew a gun?
Yeah, my understanding is it was the guy in the car he was attempting to carjack that actually shot him, but that there were 2 other people who were following him either from the store or through the parking lot,
Crazy.
also with guns drawn.
Wow.
Well, they can't figure out what this man's motive was. Was he just wasted? Was he angry? Was he on something?
Possibly all of the above.
Yeah, exactly. And detectives are investigating an early morning shooting yesterday in Belltown that left a man with life-threatening injuries. This happened about 2 a.m. yesterday, shortly after bars closed. And this incident was on the 2200 block of First Avenue. There were a number of shots that had been fired before police arrived. A man was hit multiple times, and they took him to Harborview. And this is an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Well, I'll tell you, I think I might have an idea here. because you know how I like to invent stuff and then never get around to doing anything about it, and then I whine and complain. I got an idea because, Belltown, after 2 o'clock in the morning, I have all the information I need right there. I get it right there and then. So I got a thing. Much like if you get too many drunk driving tickets, they make you blow into your ignition thing to turn them.
Right.
What about if you have to blow into your gun? And if you're past the point 8, you can't shoot anybody. What do you think?
It's genius.
Genius.
Which end of the gun would you blow into?
Well, I think it'd be bad for the guy who had a few drinks to blow into the nozzle of it or whatever that would be called.
Right.
That'd
The
be bad.
barrel?
Put that in your mouth in the barrel. Yeah.
It does seem dangerous.
Yeah. You call it the Hemingway, and that's not a good way to go.
The King County Sheriff's deputies are looking for whoever shot and killed a clerk at a motel south of SeaTac Airport. Deputies responded to America's Best Value Inn on International Boulevard South.
Doesn't sound like a great
No,
deal.
right off the bat.
This was 11 o'clock Friday night, and an airport shuttle driver had returned to the motel to find the clerk lying on the ground, dead. No information about the suspect was available, and police are asking if anyone knows anything to give them a call.
All right. So why
Scary.
was the guy who had a good job and everything and just staying in the motel because he wanted to? Maybe he had
clerk.
a fight with the wife?
Clerk.
Oh, I thought you said he had a job at the airport.
The shuttle bus driver who works at the airport was driving people to and from.
Okay. I thought he was living
so he
there.
shows up at the because this is right down the street from the airport.
Right.
So
Got it now.
So he is taking people back and forth, goes back to the airport, back to the inn, and there's the clerk dead on the ground.
Gotcha.
A magnitude 6.1 earthquake shook Osaka, Japan early this morning, killing
Holy
3
Toledo.
people.
My
What?
mother-in-law's there. Just landed.
Really?
In Osaka?
Yeah.
Oh, some of the images I saw are from the airport, and you can see everything shaking.
Oh, wow. Well, I might have to check on that. And by me, I mean my wife, who's actually related to that lady.
Is she there for work or pleasure?
She teaches, yeah. She teaches on a base, I think.
Well, this is the second biggest city in Japan, and this was a pretty significant earthquake at 6.1.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Thankfully, there was no tsunami warning issued, but as I said, 3 people killed and about 20 injured so far. So these numbers are expected to rise. A terrible incident out of New Jersey over the weekend. 22 people were injured, and 1 suspect died in a shooting during an arts festival in Trenton. 4 people, including a 13-year-old boy, are in critical condition. This was a 24-hour event, and they believe that this was a turf war, gang violence.
Who has a 24-hour event on the streets of Trenton, New Jersey? You're just begging for trouble.
It's bizarre, but they said this is the, I think, 12th annual arts festival that has been 24 hours.
And is somebody killed every year?
I don't believe so. I think this is the first time violence has broken out.
Super weird. I don't appreciate art. Why do people in Trenton appreciate art? Seems weird to me.
You remember the logo for Trenton, New Jersey?
Yeah, I do. Trenton makes, the world takes.
Yep.
Yeah, they make art, apparently. And bullets.
3 inmates, including 1 charged with murder, busted through the wall of an Illinois jail over the weekend and led authorities on a manhunt.
Once they leave the grounds, are they now outmates? Is that an automatic thing?
Justin Bray, Zachary Schock, and Johnny Tipton allegedly used a pipe to break a hole in the concrete wall of the White County Jail. This is a tiny town in Illinois. And when they went to do a bed check, they realized, well, there's 3 people missing. Oh, yeah, and there's a big hole in the wall. Now, one of the men, Justin Bray, was captured a few hours later. He, of course, is now facing additional charges.
Sure.
The other 2, however, still on the loose. And one of them, the Zachary Schock guy, he was charged with murder and aggravated battery. And so now he's out.
That's what he was serving time for?
Yeah.
Seems like the killers are the people that make the mistake. But why, if you're going to be, another year and a half, unless you're that affluenza mom,
right.
Why do you run if you only got a little time? Must be, I wouldn't run if I didn't have a life sentence on the line.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I'm guessing he did. But scary to think that those 2 men are on the loose. The good news is this is in 45 miles west of Evansville, Indiana.
By the way, you'd think you're going to automatically get some racial problems in a place called the White Jail.
White County Jail.
Hey, man, we're going to this guy at the White County Jail. What do we got going on here? I think problems. But that's just me.
And clearly these guys never saw Shawshank Redemption. You got to hang a poster up over the wall. You don't just leave that big hole in the wall.
Could have bought them a few more hours.
Right,
They could
exactly.
be in Guantanamo Bay or wherever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Right.
I don't know either. Nobody knows.
We've all gotten into the argument about who gets to sit in the front seat, right?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
You yell shotgun.
Shotgun.
Well, that's not supposed to be literal. A man has been arrested after police say he fatally shot his friend after an argument about who would get to sit in the front seat.
Oh, that's because he called shotgun, and that other guy got in the passenger seat. You can't do
Not
that.
how it works.
I think that might be how it works.
It's not how it's supposed to work, but that's certainly how it worked in this situation. They got into an altercation who is going to sit in the front seat, and this dude was so mad about not being able to sit in the front seat that he shot his friend.
Yikes.
He did not survive.
But Dante tried to call shotgun with me and my wife. So I was going to drive. So he's calling shotgun, and so that Amy has to sit in the back. So I should shut up. That's a new game that we play. You call shotgun, I say shut up, and then my wife's sitting next to me. But he was all mad. He was really mad. Like, that's not how that works, Dad.
Yeah, he called it.
Yeah, graduate high school and then talk to me.
Yeah, I don't approve when it's a kid.
Yeah, no, you don't get shotgun.
No.
Yeah, it might go for who paid for dinner gets that seat.
Okay.
Who did the laundry last in this case gets the seat. But you have to earn the shotgun.
'Tis the season, and what was supposed to start as a harmless senior prank at a high school ended with a 911 call and the prankster in a neck brace in an ambulance. Now, an ambulance was called 1 o'clock in the morning. Paramedics found a boy. He had broken his nose, cut his eyes, and turns out he was trying to toilet paper a neighborhood,
Yeah.
tripped to the extent where he needed an ambulance called, broke his nose, cut his eyes, and had to be put in a neck brace.
How did this kid survive long enough to be in high school?
Yeah, good call.
They said there was plastic wrap around tree trunks, toilet paper hanging from the branches, and police said that all of his buddies, the other pranksters, were so freaked out by this kid hurting himself that they waited for the ambulance, and then the police said, okay, you guys can go clean up that mess now.
Wow, that was not where I thought that was going. I thought they ran away and abandoned him.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I would do, little bastard.
Well, I'm pretty sure the last time we talked about abandoning your friends, you guys said I was the most evil, hateful person, but now you just admitted
you
you
are.
do the
By
same.
the way, yeah. But whatever the setup is, at the end of it, you're the meanest person in the world.
You left Danny drowning in a river. You took the boat and drove away.
Yeah,
He
thank
wasn't
you.
drowning. He was floating.
No, I'm pretty sure I was drowning.
I think you might have taken off all your clothes and you were drunk.
Yes. And jumped
what
into the
happened?
river, and then you left.
Yes.
Wow, you're terrible. You can't leave a drunk, naked man in the river.
But here I am toilet papering a neighborhood with you guys.
Yeah.
I fall so badly, I break my nose and cut both my eyes.
Yeah, we're out of there.
Yeah. But difference being, the boat and river scenario happened yesterday. This thing happened in high school.
Right, yeah.
We're children and we're afraid of everything.
An Illinois hardware store owner is looking for a man who tried on a pair of snug work gloves and left a ring inside.
Neat.
Now, this man must have been trying on some gloves, thought they were too tight, took them off, left the ring behind, didn't realize his wedding ring was missing.
They sound too tight.
So this is the story that this guy's going with? Yeah. Honey, of course I don't have my wedding ring.
Yeah.
I went to Ace Hardware and tried on some gloves. The gloves have them. Cindy Gloves is her name, I believe.
The guy who runs this store says that 2 women have called on behalf of their husbands, but it's not their ring.
Oh, saying
wow.
my husband lost his ring
Yes.
it must be there.
And it's funny, you know, the thing where guys, and you'll see it in movies all the time, you take off your wedding ring because you're going to go cruise the bars, and sometimes you even have a tan line where
Yeah.
the ring used to be. I've never met one girl in a bar that cared either way if I was married. Not once. Like, oh, we were gone. I was just about to make out with you, and then I saw that little piece of metal around your finger. I can't possibly make out with you now.
I don't get the guys, too, who say, I must have left it on the bathroom sink when I was washing my hands.
Yeah.
Why would you take your ring off to wash your hands?
Because you're dirty.
Then your ring's dirty, too.
I get that one because but it's a bar of soap. For squirty soap, I don't get it completely. With a bar of soap, when you go with a bar of soap,
Okay.
that's this for you guys out there. You scrape soap every time, and it takes forever to wash that soap off.
All right.
Right.
I can perhaps buy that.
Thank you.
We shall see. Indonesia. A man died of severe head injuries after the coffin with his dead mom fell on the pallbearers. Did you just laugh, Paul?
No, I
She
didn't.
did,
That was a gasp.
I just don't get the mechanics of it
I
yet.
feel bad for him. He was one of the pallbearers, I assume.
Yes.
Why did they lift it up over their heads?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I don't get it.
This is something called a Lakian, which is a traditional wooden stilt house in which dead bodies are stored in during a Toroja traditional funeral ceremony.
See, why didn't you know that, Paul?
I definitely knew that. yeah.
Oh, that part. Right.
I mean, of course they're going to go traditional on this.
So Tori's
you don't want to
talked-
go modern on the.
Tori's talked about this before, that she wanted to be in one of those little houses with like bedding and pillows and stuff, and a bunch of hot dudes carry you around on their shoulder.
Are you dead?
But
No,
in
she's
her
alive.
scenario, she was alive. She was just being honored as the goddess that she is.
Right.
So does that give you a visual?
No, but
Ancient Egypt, where they carried people around in
well, they
like a
do it
little
here.
house.
They do things like that here, and they certainly do it in Southeast Asia. They do big things like that. I still am with Paul. I don't get how it got above their heads to kill a guy.
It sounds like it's on stilts. You're holding like a pole that's holding the coffin up above you.
Oh, I did
Yes.
not get that. Is that what you're getting?
Yes.
All right, because I was getting it's at that house, and then you slide it out onto the pole bearers.
No. That's what I'm saying. A bunch of handsome men in Tori's dream scenario are carrying you around like on their shoulders. They're holding something, and it's just like a regular pallbearer, except that it's up on this tiny little house, little platform.
You're not holding the coffin
Right.
itself. You're holding a pole
House
that has the
that's got
coffin on top
the
of it.
coffin
Yes.
in the house. All right.
So they show there's images of this. And
Really? Is there a video?
there is.
Oh,
You're
that's-
laughing. What is wrong with you?
It's so sad, but since Danny doesn't fully understand it, I think we should totally watch it during a commercial break.
Fair enough, man.
Well, things don't go well. Several people sustained injuries, and the son carrying the mom who had died, he is now dead too.
Well, were they close?
Thick as thieves.
Well,
Danny.
that's
are
the
now.
thing. If they are, remember Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher within
Yeah.
24 hours? Like
True.
maybe they were like that. And maybe he intentionally dropped a dead body on his head.
It was fate.
Yeah, it was fate.
It was fate.
Right.
Really, it's a love story when you think about it.
Really, a mom and her son.
Yes.
A city in Kansas is reportedly
Love Kansas.
I don't know if you're still going to like them after this story.
Oh.
A city in Kansas is demanding $132,000 from the parents of a 5-year-old boy who knocked over and destroyed a glass sculpture.
Yeah, he deserves it, little bastard. And since that kid doesn't have a job, send a bill to mom and dad. I'm totally down.
Really?
That's what they did. Now, this is a piece of art called Aphrodite to Kansas City, and it was on display.
Aphrodite of Kansas City. She's not even good looking.
And this little boy was at a wedding reception with his parents, and the mom says he probably hugged it because he's a nice, sweet, loving boy.
He's a vandal.
The artist said, this is damaged beyond repair, and I'm not going to like crazy glue it back together. So they got a bill in the mail for $132,000. Mom and dad say they're going to submit it to their insurance company because they don't have that kind of cash.
Yeah,
hanging
nobody
around.
has 130. You shouldn't have $132,000 cash.
Yeah.
You should buy stuff that goes up in value. But
They should pay for it, right?
well, it depends on who you listen to. The museum or whoever it was says you should have watched your kid better.
Yeah.
They said he's 5 and he was in a museum that you had there and it was unprotected. Of
Right.
course this was going to happen. You should have known. So they're going to have fight this out. But the version I like is a little bastard's family has to pay. It just seems funny to me.
I mean, the insurance company that should pay it is the museum's insurance company.
Right, exactly.
This was an accident. Unless there's intent, unless there's evidence that this boy did this on purpose, parents don't pay. I wouldn't pay.
All right. So your daughter is what? Is she 6 now?
She's 6, yeah.
And you guys are at a wedding and there's some beautiful artwork on display and
Yeah.
she runs over and hugs Aphrodite,
Yeah.
smashes to the ground into a million pieces.
It's an accident.
Yeah, but somebody's got to pay.
People
Right.
pay.
The
If you
insurance
crash
company at
into
the
me
venue.
and it's your fault, you have to pay because it was an accident.
The insurance company of the venue would pay.
Well, we shall see what we shall see.
I'm sending Paul the bill.
Either
not
way,
paying it.
these guys, they're on the hook in some. So they have to prove that they were watching their kid, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because if Paul's not watching his kid, he's getting the bill times 10.
I don't know how that happened, man.
Still not paying it.
It's $1.5 million right there.
But I like what you said, Danny. It's a good point that it's unprotected. It's out there where my kid can bump into it.
Absolutely.
That's your fault.
A 19th century ghost town located in the Inyo Mountains outside of Lone Pine, California, is on the market. You could own it. It's a 300-acre piece of land. It was home to the mining town of Cerro Gordo. 22 structures, a hotel, a church, a saloon, and a superintendent's house. It's a ghost town.
Yeah, well, if you remember, we were talking about places that scare you. I said this place. It's on the way to the actual Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Oh, this is on the way to the real Palm Springs?
Yep. This is a little creepy place as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? It'll go fast because there is a ghost town outside Palm Springs in Joshua Tree that this married couple bought with I don't know what plans they had. Now they have a tourist attraction. People come from hundreds of miles around to go to.
Yeah.
The town itself is on fire, and the restaurant and venue, Paul McCartney recently played there. Got up on stage, not telling anybody anything. Borrowed another guy's guitar and played right-handed, by the way. Oh, I was all over this story.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So you need to buy it.
How much?
$925,000.
It's actually less than a house in Queen Anne, I guess.
It's only like 6 of those statues in Kansas.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, they said this used to be a big place for silver and mining.
Right.
Those lodes have all appear to be gone now, but it's a ghost town. You should buy it.
I would love to, but I think the guys that bought a ghost town and made it an awesome thing, that moment has come and gone.
Oh.
The bar that Paul McCartney played is called Pappy and Harriet's. And I'm telling you right now, when I learn to play guitar, I'm going to play there. I'll be bitching it. Pappy and Harriet's.
A Montana man rescued a tired fawn from a bed of drying sewer sludge and was able to help reunite the baby deer with its mommy.
Aw.
He said it was
I'd have reunited it with a taxidermy.
Oh, it's Bambi.
It's in poop.
It was in poop.
It was in poop.
Now, this man said the fawn was stuck in black sludge. He was able to help the fawn. He said it was very unpleasant, thigh-deep sludge. He had to wade through. He got the distressed fawn, which did not fight being rescued.
Oh, that's neat.
He said, honestly, it was fairly welcoming.
Every time I rescue somebody, they totally fight.
Because they're not in danger, Danny.
I swear they looked in danger at the time that I rescued them, Paul.
He took it to the banks of a nearby river, was able to help wash the sludge off, and then as soon as it regained its strength, they brought it back to like up this little hill and reunited it with its mom.
What was its mom doing?
Mom couldn't rescue it because
Right.
it was so deep in the sludge.
I've just never heard of a deer that sticks around.
Yeah.
They usually run around like crazy.
It was in the woods watching all of this happen.
Sweet mom.
And he said, let's be honest, my coworkers and my family wanted nothing to do with me until I took 1,000 showers outside.
I bet.
He said, this is not clean stuff. I hate to say it, but it's poop.
Yeah, it's poop.
Poop.
It's poop.
It's a
Poop
nice
fest.
story. Not the poop part. The deer part. It's time for today's Things Are Not Right in Florida. Story of the day.
Yay.
The Putnam County Sheriff's Office took to Facebook to tell the story where a man contacted them and said, I've been sold the wrong drugs. Douglas Kelly, 49 years old, called the cops and said, I've had a bad reaction. I just smoked this stuff, and I'm pretty sure they sold me the wrong drugs. I need you to test it because I want to press charges against the person who sold me this stuff.
Well, it's an amazing test that they do. If you smoke it and think it's a good idea to call the cops, it's really good drugs.
Well, they said, sure, bring it on down. So he did. Went to the police station, said, here are the drugs. I'm pretty sure these are the wrong drugs. Detectives did indeed test the substance, which was methamphetamine, and he was promptly arrested.
You know, you don't need a guy that stupid in jail. Isn't the population of jail stupid already? You should just tell that guy, go home and don't do anything stupid for at least 72 hours.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Florida.
Hey, what is she doing listening to the show? She's
Seriously.
too busy ransacking museums.
Wow.
News this morning brought to you by Car Pros Rent and Kia. We've got music news, entertainment, and sports right around the corner. New music from Chris Cornell came out over the weekend. Dare you to keep a dry eye when you hear this audio. Do you want to attend a Mariners game on us?
Yeah.
Well, then we've got your tickets next. Starting with some music news. Over the weekend, a lot of people sending out Father's Day messages. And for some, Father's Day can be a sad day because they liked their dads and they're not with us anymore. Such was the case for Chris Cornell's daughter. She shared a previously unheard duet that she did with her father to mark Father's Day. She released this song and a message that said, "Daddy, I love and miss you so much. You were the best father anyone could ask for." And went on to say, recording this song with you was a very special and amazing experience.
I'm semi-crying right now.
Yeah.
It's a cover. And
How old's this kid?
I think she's 13 now.
Oh, wow.
Derek, play the song.
Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want. I can see whoever I choose. I can eat my dinner in a fancy restaurant, but nothing, I said nothing can take away these blues.
She's got a good voice.
Yeah.
'Cause nothing compares.
She's got a little case of
Nothing compares
Christina Aguilera-itis, but
to you.
I think it's nice, like a little bit of a country.
it is very, it's super nice.
So she said, "Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Nothing compares to you." That's nice.
Yeah.
But no one ever heard it before. They'd recorded it a while ago.
Strange that they recorded a song about him leaving her, right?
Is that what this song's about?
That's what it sounds like.
This is
She can eat dinner in a fancy restaurant.
Right.
That's what the song's about.
Since he left her, but nothing compares to just having her dad.
So this was a song written by Prince,
Right.
done by Sinead O'Connor. Huge hit
Huge
for
hit.
Sinead O'Connor.
Anybody that was in a relationship at that time, this is kind of their song,
Sure, yeah.
which is weird because it is about somebody leaving.
Right.
It is about a breakup.
Yeah.
It would appear. Jay-Z and Beyonce are keeping up a family tradition. They dropped a surprise album over the weekend. It was a surprise because absolutely nobody knew that it was happening. They've done this in the past, but this time it's a joint album, and he has some lines where he is dissing the Grammys. They do shout out their daughter, or I guess the daughter shouts out the other siblings, and he says that he turned down the NFL Super Bowl halftime show and rapped about that in this album. And she does more rapping than normal.
She does?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Derek, what song is this?
This is called Summer. It was one of the only clean songs I could find.
So real.
So real,
Let it
so
breathe.
real,
Let it breathe.
so real.
The Grammys are stupid. Is that where that line goes?
I'm going to play
Taylor
Cupid.
Swift
Look at me
should have
rap right there.
won. So, yeah, that came out over the weekend. Available now. Let's see. 7:20 today. We've got a pretty fantastic prize.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
I
we
almost
do.
had a different word other than fantastic right there.
One with an F.
Yes. Tickets to see the Foo Fighters.
That is an
Wow.
excellent prize.
And that's a great F word right there. Foo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foo
Foo
Fighters.
or Fighters? Which one?
Either one.
Oh, okay.
I like foo, though.
You do?
Yeah.
All right.
Foo. It's a great word.
Foo Fighters,
Does it
September
mean
1st.
anything and it's by itself?
I don't know what it means, but I like it, though.
Because the actual Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
it's from a Navy, I believe they were Navy fighters, and they said, "Hey, we see a spaceship up
Yes.
here." And they said, "No, you don't." And they said, "No, really, it's right there." And I don't know how they got to be called Foo Fighters after this, like been 1940 or 1941, I
Yeah.
believe. So that's a thing, but I don't think that's what they meant.
Tickets to
You
see
don't
Foo
think that's what the
Fighters.
band means?
September 1st, Safeco Field could be yours at 7:20. In entertainment news, Apple has reached a multi-year deal with Oprah Winfrey to create original programs for its streaming service. Apple announced these programs will be released worldwide as part of their lineup of original content. Now, Apple hasn't launched its service yet, but when they do, they will be competing with Amazon and Netflix. Oprah Winfrey, of course, has her own channel. She's chair and CEO, and that deal continues, but she can appear elsewhere, and she will.
Wow.
So Apple exclusive with Oprah. So whatever shows they make will only be available on Apple streaming.
And well, I don't want to get into the whole thing that I don't understand all about Apple not because they haven't released it yet, which seems weird to me. They're usually ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and in this case, they dropped the ball, I think, with competing for television, but it'd be just like Hulu, Netflix, YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, they have Apple TV, which is a service to use, it's a player to use other streaming services. But apparently this is their first foray into doing their own content, or doing Oprah's content anyway.
Yeah. Jackie Chan is ready to share some more stories about his amazing life and career. The star of blockbusters such as Rush Hour and Kung Fu Panda has a memoir coming out. According to his publisher, this was a memoir that will be coming out in November. He writes about making movies in Hong Kong, Hollywood, talks about his imperfections as a family man, and that it will be a real look at the man, the myth, the legend.
And that's a nice market for him. If that counts as the Amazon bestseller thing, it's totally going to be that.
He did write a book that came out back in 1998 called I Am Jackie Chan, My Life in Action, but that was a long time ago, 1998, so I'm sure a lot's changed since then.
I'm sure.
Actress Billie Lourd, who is the daughter of the late Carrie Fisher, channeled her inner Princess Leia over the weekend. She took the mound for the first pitch ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers game. She wore a Dodgers jersey and put her hair into the Princess Leia cinnamon buns.
She actually had her hair like that rather than went to the novelty store and bought the hair like that?
Yeah, she's got really long hair.
They have headphones that look like that.
Yeah.
So it was Star Wars night at Dodger Stadium.
So I get it. A girl that had nothing to do with Star Wars should throw out the first ball.
But that's
Why
where
do
you were
oh,
incorrect.
she's nobody.
She was
I'm
in
not
the
nobody.
last Star Wars movie.
What'd she play?
She played K-Del Kokonix.
And was that your favorite part?
No, you would, if you watched the last Star Wars, you would absolutely know it was her, except the fact she looks nothing like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't know it was her, but okay, I take it back. She was in a Star Wars movie. It's better than me.
She was in the Star Wars, the actual Star Wars movie, as opposed to one of these all spinoffs that we've got. But that
So
was
not the solo movie, but one before that.
Yeah, and Carrie Fisher, that was the last one she was alive for. So she was in it with her mom, which was nice.
Adorable.
Leah Remini is moving on to a new sitcom following the cancellation of her previous series, Kevin Can Wait. She has signed on to star in an untitled multicam Fox sitcom from the comedic minds behind It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She will star as Jean, a politically conservative woman who simultaneously lives a progressive life as a lesbian who is married to a woman named Betty. And
Okay, how are they going to work Kevin James back into this?
Yeah. And Scientology. How does that happen?
Yeah, the way this is looking to me on paper, there's no room for Kevin.
Yeah, but I mean, so she's married to a woman now, but halfway through the first season,
Exactly.
they're
She's
going
going
to
to realize she's straight.
second thoughts.
Kill her off. Her third season of Leah Remini Scientology in the Aftermath will start this fall as well.
How are there this many episodes available?
You would think that we would have learned everything we needed to learn about Scientology.
I have learned more than I need to know about Scientology. Plus, how bad can they be? You eventually have to go, oh, they're all murderers. When you check it, and then they turn you into food. Like that, you have to do that. They have 3 years. People go, no, they kidnapped me and they brainwashed me, and I had a relationship with an antelope because they made me. Like, you run out of stuff eventually.
My wife loves that show, though. Holiday watches it.
Amy. Woo. I got problems. That's cool. I got problems on that part of the world down there. Anyway, she
Down
records that
where?
show.
What are you talking about?
Los Angeles.
I
I'm in
see.
contact with my
Not down
ex-wife
there.
almost every day. Not down there. All right, just be asleep. I'll give you $50 if you were still asleep.
Anyway, that Scientology show, somebody's watching it.
Yeah, I think it's it.
Oh, boy. In other entertainment news.
That was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, for you, bastard.
I'm sorry, man. I tried to rewind, and you said we're
She
good.
let me die in a river, but I expected more from you.
Hey, if you got problems down there, I'm not your guy.
You got problems down there, man.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Word is Jerry Lewis had enough guns in his private collection to arm a militia. His entire arsenal, from pump-action shotguns to Civil War pistols, are now hitting the auction block.
Oh, neat.
73 firearms in total, and some of them will be in the 5-figure range. This is an auction through Julian's happening in Vegas starting on the 22nd. They said there'll be 12-gauge shotguns, riot shotguns,
Who knew?
a Beretta semi-automatic, mini revolvers, a lot of Glocks, Rugers, and more.
Wow. I did not expect that from the funniest man in the world or whatever he was supposed to be, the clown prince of comedy.
I wouldn't either. And according to people who know Jerry Lewis, he was once known as one of Hollywood's fastest draws
Really?
and gave quick draw lessons back in the day.
Do you know that is not only true, but do you know where he learned to do that?
No, I do not.
Sammy Davis Jr. was the
weird.
quickest draw in the West.
Wow.
And that was a title he got. And also, if you see a movie called, I forget, a gangster movie that he did with Frank Sinatra and the whole gang, he spins and shoots guns and throws them up in the air and catches them behind his back and stuff. Sammy does.
Oh, wow.
And I think Jerry has a part of that movie.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports.
Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. It was a big weekend for the Seattle Mariners, a 4-game homestand against the Boston Red Sox that started on Thursday. And Friday, the Mariners beat the Red Sox 7-6. Saturday, the Mariners beat the Sox 1-0. And the Mariners lost yesterday to split the series. So the Red Sox had 3 home runs.
Apparently, I was the bad luck charm. You were the good luck charm.
I went Saturday. Wade LeBlanc pitched an unbelievable game.
Yeah.
1-0 victory for the Mariners. Paul, you went yesterday.
I did. It was a beautiful day. I had a lot of fun at the ballpark, but not the result they were looking for.
Yeah, you saw a lot more action than I did. The final was 9-3.
Yeah.
If you were with Paul or, with Paul, I guess, because you're all at Safeco Field.
Yeah.
You need to get ready to call us right now to tell us what the song was that played during Mariners KZOK Music Trivia. The first person to correctly tell us wins a pair of tickets to an upcoming Mariners game. Derek, what do they win tickets to?
Tickets for the game on June 30th at 7:10 versus the Kansas City Royals, which just happens to be Turn Ahead the Clock night.
Turn ahead the clock night.
He'll have to explain that to us. I do not know what that
Turn
means.
ahead the clock night?
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. So they instead of turning back the clock and people dressing like it's 20 years ago, it's going to be turn ahead the clock. So people are, the players are actually going to wear
Why-
futuristic uniforms.
Why isn't it turn the clock ahead?
I don't know. I didn't make it up, but this is they're doing a 20th anniversary of the first time that they did turn ahead the clock night, which was 20 years ago. And tonight on Root Sports, I think 7:00, they're going to play the footage from that game, the
Oh,
whole
wow.
game. So
That's
we'll
very
see
cool.
whatever 20 years ago was supposed to be futuristic.
Yeah.
We'll see that tonight on Root Sports. Do
That's funny.
you think they'll be out there on
Self-lacing
hoverboards?
cleats. Yeah.
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 All right, call right now, 800-252-1025 to win those tickets. You just got to tell us the Mariners KZOK Music Trivia song from yesterday's game. And tomorrow, the Mariners-Yankees first pitch 4:05. The World Cup is underway, and some of the best part of the World Cup are the calls when somebody scores a goal.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here is a call from Denmark and Peru. This is the actual goal call with no edits.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Goes the dynamite? I would fire that guy immediately.
Did he die like right after that?
It's so stupid, man. I would imagine other stuff has begun to happen.
He
since
dropped
the
in
goal.
a boom goes the dynamite there,
I
which
heard
I
that. I
did
thought that was
appreciate.
hysterical.
But those guys were actually terrible throughout. I watched the whole match and they
In
like
Dutch?
No, it was in English. That guy
That
was
was
speaking
English.
That was English. Did you
Yes.
say it was the Dutch guy?
No, the game was Denmark versus Peru.
Ah, okay.
Neither of which speak Dutch, but but
They was beginning as a fake country. Don't get me started.
the announcers were like really struggling to figure out which Danish player was which I thought was funny. But they knew the Peruvian players really well and had like nicknames for every guy and got overly excited anytime a player from Peru touched the ball. It was he kept dropping in Aerosmith lyrics for just no reason. It was very bizarre, but it was enjoyable.
And the games were enjoyable. Yesterday, Serbia defeated Costa Rica 1-0. Mexico defeated Germany. What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
that was
upset.
unexpected, correct?
Right.
Yes, 1-0. And Brazil and Switzerland ended in a 1-1 tie. Now, the Mexico game was huge. Nobody thought Mexico would defeat Germany. The country was so excited, they believe there was a man-made earthquake after the victory.
Because people all jumping up and down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we have here with the 12th
Our
man.
Beastquake,
Yeah.
that we had.
They believe that jumping up and down about 35 seconds, there was an artificial earthquake in
Wow.
Mexico. Pretty awesome. Sweden and South Korea underway right now. Derek, do we have a score for that match?
It is 1-0. Sweden is winning, and they are in the very last minute of the game. So Sweden's
wow.
probably going to finish the win on that one.
Thank you. Belgium versus Panama. Starts at 8 o'clock.
I got to watch that one. That's who I picked. You picked Germany, right?
I picked
Sarah?
Germany.
Did I pick anybody?
Spain, I believe.
Oh, okay, I stand by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
Where can we go?
Tunisia versus England. That match time is at 11. And on to baseball. The UW Huskies fell 1-0 to Mississippi State on a walk-off in the College World Series opener. Washington versus Oregon State. This is an elimination game this afternoon.
Can I ask a question based
Yeah.
on something I just found out?
Yeah.
Why are there like 47 teams in the College World Series? Shouldn't there be 2 teams?
That's what I would think.
Yeah.
You'd think there would be just a handful. It's like mini playoffs. I don't know why there's so
Right.
many.
I
Well,
heard
with Paul on the World Series, there's 2 teams that
Yeah.
did really, really, really well, and one of them gets a crown or something later. And
they
that's a
said
mistake.
UW has to win their next one against Oregon State to stay in it, and if they do, they'll face one of like 75 other teams. It's so very weird. Are there any teams in college baseball not playing in the College World Series?
Yeah, that would be your mom.
Oh, okay. My
Cleveland, do
mom's-
you?
Yes. Okay.
Hey, congratulations to Connie in Puyallup. She was at the Mariners game yesterday and knew the song. The Mariners KZOK music trivia song was Fortunate Son from Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, I remember Connie.
You remember Connie?
Yeah, I saw her there.
Oh, yeah, I saw
at
her
the
there
game.
among the 42,000 other people.
Yeah, it was sell out. It was packed.
Connie in Puyallup's going to the Jeep Winners Winner lobby to pick up tickets to an upcoming Mariners game. We just talked about it. I already forgot. What does she win tickets to?
Connie won tickets for the game on June 30th at 7:10 versus the Kansas City Royals, which just happens to be Turn Ahead the Clock night.
Turn ahead the clock night.
The future is back on Saturday, June 30th, when the Mariners turn ahead the clock versus the Royals on the 20th anniversary of the original event. The Mariners will don futuristic threads, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a futuristic Mariners cap courtesy of Alaska Airlines. Blast to mariners.com for tickets.
Now, did you say that the players would be donning futuristic clothes?
They
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Wow, because usually baseball players notoriously not fun, you know. But I know they do the oldie timey clothes sometimes.
Right.
All right, I'm going to keep my eye on this.
Well, the Mariners are off today. Tomorrow they are on the road to face the New York Yankees. 4:05 start time on Root Sports, and you'll have another chance to win Mariners tickets tomorrow morning right about this same time. Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys at 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
I'll tell you a little bit something about 1-800-DUI-AWAY. If you get a DUI, and you shouldn't, by the way, but if you do, call a lawyer right away. Don't fool around. Don't think you know the right thing to do. Your lawyer knows the right thing to do. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. They'll meet in Seattle, Everett, or Tacoma. 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
We'll be right back taking your calls and texts. And don't forget at 7:20, tickets to see the Foo Fighters.
All right, there's a game coming up at 7:20 this morning that I was kind of waffling back and forth on.
Yeah.
And then somehow we started playing it, and it became a contact sport, which must mean it's a fine, fine game. So the game is, in fact, called What the Foo?
What the foo?
Is that the right intonation?
Yeah,
What the
that
Foo?
sounds good.
Yeah, so be here at 7:20. We're going to play that, and you can win stuff. What can you win, Sarah?
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters. Oh,
Did you win the
September 1st.
band?
Did we
That's
just lose?
awesome.
Oh, I thought we lose for saying it first.
No.
All right, we
Yes,
got it.
you win the entire band, Foo Fighters,
Very
or
cool.
a pair of tickets to the show September 1st at Safeco Field.
It would be the first time any of us had an entire band except for Tori. How dare you?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's probably best.
That was fun.
Ooh, moving on.
I think it means a few days off for Danny.
Is that what it is?
Wow. So some construction workers made news for doing some work on an abandoned home, and they found a hidden stash of gold coins worth oodles of loot,
Oodles.
of money.
Yeah.
They found the loot. They found, and it's theirs because it was an abandoned building. So they were in there doing some work, and they're like, look at all these gold coins. This is spectacular.
And finders, keepers, losers, weepers? Is that how it works?
In some countries, that is how it works.
Yeah.
Really?
There is an actual finders keepers law.
It was here. We had that for a long time and then changed it not too long ago because people were finding all that treasure on the coast of Boston,
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
There was a story in, I think it was at Incheon Airport in South Korea, where this guy working there found gold bars that somebody had put into the garbage. And they had a finders keepers law, and he gets to keep that.
Wow, that's
What's
awesome.
up with all these people finding gold coins?
Yeah, I never
Especially
find gold.
Especially ones that aren't looking. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a treasure hunter and you find gold, I still think it's a pretty small chance, but okay. But when
Yeah.
you find gold accidentally,
Yeah.
you make me mad.
I was at the beach one time and found a $2 bill, and I thought I was the richest person in the world. I was so
Really?
excited.
Do you know now the value of that $2 bill?
Well, I was like 8 or so, and
Yeah.
that was a big find. And you can't really return it. If you find something cool, it doesn't belong to you, you should try to find its owner.
Nope.
No.
I mean, it depends. Are you for sure going to get caught and
If it's-
punished for
If
it?
it's a car in the parking lot, you can't claim that you just found it and
Yeah.
take off. But if it's treasure, especially if I have one of those metal detectors,
Well, okay, think of it this way. I have found people's wallets before.
Yeah.
I return it to that person, or I
Sure.
put it in the mailbox.
Yeah. I mean, you keep a small finder's fee
No.
of whatever
yeah, if that
cash
has all
happened
the
to be.
money in
Yes.
it.
Well, Danny, have
And
you
I
ever...
knock on the door because I also want the visual recognition of, wow, what a nice guy.
Oh, you need to be thanked.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do need to be thanked. Hey, I found it. There's no money in it, but here's your driver's license and credit cards. And that's the big hassle, isn't it? And they say, oh, yes, it is. Danny
Yeah.
Bonaduce, you're kind of my hero.
And then sometimes they give you an extra reward.
Right, yes, they do.
Fantastic.
And when they see, an ex-child star down on his luck, they're bound to give me a couple of bucks.
But finding a wallet isn't that interesting, to be honest. We've all found a wallet
Yeah.
before, right? But have you ever found something interesting that didn't belong to you?
Well, yeah, no, it didn't belong to me. We were, Jeff, I will leave his last name out of this. Jeff and I just assumed that his mother and stepfather smoked pot. The house smelled like pot, and we were kids. Pot was a huge deal. So when they were out at work, we searched their room looking for pot, and what we found was action pictures of mom, if you will.
Oh.
And it's like, well, she didn't like groom up thinking, hey, now I'm going to take some nudie pictures. It looks like she just got the idea after breakfast at some point. And, yeah, so we were shocked because it was pictures of Jeff's mom. So I would say here's the thing that we found that we were not expecting.
Yeah.
The naked pictures of Jeff's mom.
But I told you, when we were in Amsterdam, Matt found a big bag of weed. Obviously did not belong to him. And we were too afraid to smoke it. Like, what if it was laced with something?
Well, you smoke less. I'm dead serious. You just go, and if you don't start to die, then you go, and then you got your pot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if you start seeing spiders coming out of
Then
your
you smoke
eyes.
a little more.
Yeah. And then it was good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you guys listening, have you ever found gold coins? I think takes the cake. But what did you find? Call us now, 800-252-1025, or text your answer to 90627.
Of money. It was hidden in an abandoned house. The question is to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Have you ever found something interesting that didn't belong to you? The phone number is 1-800-252-1025. You can text 90627.
Let's start with our friend Paul in Buckley.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys. Back when I was a younger man, I was doing a termite treatment in an antique house in Atlanta, and we were crawling in the crawl space, and by golly, we found Confederate money.
Whoa.
Was it all bundled up?
It was in a box, Denny, and, just neatly laid away. I was amazed that it was in the condition that it was in, and so we turned it over to the Historical Society, and that was the story on that.
By the way, is that worth anything? Is Confederate money worth anything?
Well, in the condition, I guess nowadays, in the condition that we found that, it is worth something, but we were young kids at the time. Heck, it was in the 60s, and, we just wanted to do the right thing.
Good for you. It was the right thing to do.
Got a child is that? Returns money, Confederate or not. But yeah, it's not worth the fortune you would think. When you see it, if you saw a stack of Confederate money, you go, that's it. I'm a gazillionaire. But it's not because they printed so much thinking they were going to be their own country.
Yeah.
Well, think of it too. I mean, how are you going to get rid of Confederate money when you're a kid?
Right.
There, you don't know the black
You
market.
can't just buy candy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Spend it at the local 5 and dime.
Doug in Mount Lake Terrace, have you ever found something interesting that didn't belong to you?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yes, one morning, you say I was over living in Squim for a stint there my senior year, but walking to seminary, I left at 5:00 in the morning, and in the dark, and as I was walking, it's way back in the back streets of Squim, back in the Squim Valley area. But anyway, there was this Hulk as I was coming up to. I almost walked right into the thing. It was a horse. I found a horse. Yeah.
That is super weird.
In an alley?
In Squim.
Well,
That
it
is
was
so
right in
weird.
the street. It was right in the street as I was walking on my way to seminary, and I had like 3 miles to walk, so I had to leave early to get there.
Uphill
But
both ways.
here's this horse right in the middle of the street.
Now,
That
did
is so
you ever
weird.
finish your education at the seminary?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I thought this might be
Oh.
Father Doug right now. That'd be pretty awesome.
Is that uncommon for people to run into horses just on the street?
What, is this something you're familiar with too, Paul?
Yeah, and even in our front yard, every now and again, we have a stray horse.
But don't you
Yeah,
also
that's
have a
really
bear?
Yeah, we also have
Yeah.
a bear and a mountain lion. A couple
Yeah.
of bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those don't belong to anyone. The horse, I'm guessing, actually belongs to
Yeah,
somebody.
it's-
It's not
it's
a
a
group of
neighbor's
wild
horse.
horses.
I don't know. Is it wearing a collar?
It's not wearing a
If
collar.
that
no.
little bell isn't ringing, that's my horse.
Dallas and Puyallup, good morning.
Morning,
Good morning,
Dallas.
people.
Hey, morning.
Hey, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for those Paul Simon tickets. That was a great show.
Oh, you're welcome.
good.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Tickets for that contest back there. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I know you said that finding a wallet's not that exciting, but I was actually fishing when I was 12 years old with my dad at a lake in Milton, and actually caught a wallet.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and did you also find the dead body that the wallet came from? It was
I
at the
didn't even
bottom of the
think
lake.
of that.
Sure, it's a dead body. Of course, it's a dead
Yeah,
body.
absolutely.
Dallas, what'd you do with the wallet?
It had the guy's ID, everything in it, and it had $150 in it too. And we actually went and looked him up in the phone book and called him because he lived in Milton there. And he actually came and got his wallet from me and gave me $10.
Nice.
Well, that's how much money was in the wallet?
He said
$150.
$150.
150. Not even 10%.
Yeah, you
Kinda-
only lost $140.
Oh, man, that creepy
12
bastard.
years old, though, for most 12-year-olds, Danny, probably not you, but that's a lot of money. You
Actually,
were
I
earning
wouldn't-
a lot
Yeah,
of money.
but I didn't
so.
get to touch it even legally, man. That would have been a lot of money for me, too.
Mike and Sultan, have you found something interesting that didn't belong to you?
Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Sticky Sexy
Good
Abaducci.
morning, Mike.
I was walking around Northgate, and I looked down, and I thought it was just a colored piece of paper, and I was going to pick it up and throw it in the garbage can. It turned out to be a Canadian $100 bill.
Nice.
Wow, so that was worth what, $30?
Actually, back then, it was worth like $98. I took it to my mom. It took me to the bank, and we cashed it in. It was like $98 or something
Super
like
cool.
that.
There was a
Very
time that
cool.
Canadian money was worth more than our
Yes.
money, right? Oh, that
Yeah.
better not ever happen again.
We've got a text into 90627. They said, when I was a teenager, some friends and I went to use a payphone, and there was a manila envelope on top of a garbage can. Inside were smaller envelopes, and they kept getting smaller and smaller, and cash totaling about $1,000. Wouldn't that freak you out? Just like the weird
Yes.
envelope inside an
Yeah,
envelope
because
inside
I
an
would think
envelope.
somebody was up to something. I don't know
Someone's
what-
watching me.
I don't know what year it was. That's what I thought. Maybe even videotaping me.
Yeah.
That's probably somebody's bonus, is what I'm guessing.
Right?
Yeah, because you've got the big envelope to carry all the little envelopes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
so-
like a whole office got
Yes.
screwed over because you took that money. Way to go.
Let's talk with Rob in Louisville.
Hey, Rob,
Hey, guys.
what's up?
Well, this happened actually just a couple weeks ago. I found an unscratched lottery ticket, scratched it off, and it was a $500 winner. Could not
Whoa.
believe it.
Nice.
That's a pretty nice deal. What'd you do with the money?
Wasted it on buying more tickets.
Because if you'd have said I put it in the bank, I'd have said, well, we can no longer be friends. Rob.
Yeah.
But no matter how you blew it, as long as you blew it, it's a fine.
Right.
You can't try and eke out a living over that. You put it in the, you buy dinner for your friends.
And that's fair to scratch off somebody's unscratched lottery ticket.
Totally.
You can't find that person.
Right.
Paul,
Okay.
other than horses, have you found something interesting that didn't belong to you?
Yeah, not gold coins, but a gold wing.
A what?
A motorcycle, a Honda Goldwing, was abandoned in my front yard. Like
Okay,
we had
that's
this kind of wooded area.
Are you sure that's abandoned and not parked?
I think it was stolen, so
Oh, yeah.
they didn't want to hang on to it. But yeah, we had this like really thick brush area in our front yard. We called it the jungle when I was a kid because it was like really dense. But there was a hollowed out area we could go inside, and me and my buddies went in to play in there. And there was a motorcycle just hanging
That's
out in
really
there.
strange.
It wasn't like a little dirt bike. Otherwise, maybe we
No,
would have tried to
Gold-
keep it. But
A Goldwing is one of the biggest motorcycles in
Yeah.
the world, even by weight.
like
It's
a big
huge.
touring bike.
Yeah.
There was nothing we could do. We were 10 years old. Nothing we could do with it to have fun. But
could've
So you
figured
called the
that out.
police and found out it was stolen?
we did, yeah.
Wow.
They hauled it off.
Oh, it's fun while it lasted.
Yeah. We didn't even, you couldn't even sit on it, really. It was just
Too big, yeah.
too much bike for us.
It's a ginormous. It's a 2-seater.
Yeah.
And in the back seat where you sit, in the armrest, there's speakers. It's a big. And a Goldwing, to give you an idea, at least during certain years, had a cigarette lighter in it.
Nice.
Yes, it did.
So if somebody wants to abandon one now, I think
Yeah.
I can handle it. But as a kid, I just couldn't.
Tori, have you found something interesting that didn't belong to you?
I found an old medicine bottle from the early 1900s in my parents' backyard. It said Swift Pharmacies Seattle, and I looked it up. It's an antique.
Oh, that's neat.
Nice.
Were there drugs inside?
No, sadly
Oh.
not.
Sadly.
Even though they probably wouldn't work. I don't
No
think.
kratom in there.
Well, you
No
gotta
kratom.
try.
I could put some in there.
And Derek, have you
Stop
found something?
doing kratom. That's incredibly
Don't listen to them.
dangerous.
You're a young, free spirit, young lady. You
Thank
do
you,
whatever you
Derek.
want.
Derek, you?
So I gave a homeless guy a ride somewhere one time, and then I was cleaning out my car the next day, and I found this little notepad, and I started going through it and reading it, and it was like a book of poetry that the homeless guy had written.
Wow.
Oh.
And it was not bad. I tried to get it published. No one would take it.
It's kind of it's a neat story, though. And I got to tell you, to be honest, I never think of Derek as like a good person or anything like that.
No.
But I would give a homeless dude enough money to take a cab
To not
before
get
I'd
in your
say,
car.
hop on in my car.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he
like
was looking to
16,
party.
and I gave him a ride to the liquor store to buy me something.
Oh.
That's my boy.
There you go.
Thanks for your calls and texts. It is now time to play a brand new game called What the Foo?
What the foo?
This is your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Foo Fighters September 1st at Safeco Field. If you want to play the game and win the tickets, you need to start call-laters who will be there September 1st. And all week long here on KZOK, giving you a chance to win your way in by playing the game What the Foo. So to win, you will need to correctly identify the phrase, term, or expression that contains the word foo. It's as easy as that.
Is that?
Sounds easy.
Our contestant is Melissa on Joint Base Lewis McCord.
Hey, Melissa.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. Thank you for asking. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yes.
And do you understand the rules of the game?
Yes, it's going to be fun.
You'll get it. Here we go. This foo is a Chinese term originally referring to any study or practice that requires patience, energy, and time to complete. In its common English usage, it's become an umbrella term for a number of Chinese martial arts, including the style of fighting that everybody was doing in that disco song with the kicks that were fast as lightning. Can you tell us what the foo?
Well, it's not jujitsu. It is fungu.
What is happening here? You know the answer.
Oh, is it jujitsu?
No, and when you listen to the next caller get it right, you're going to be so mad at yourself. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, my God, I'm sorry.
Oh, what
Thanks for
the
playing.
foo is the question.
Yeah, what the foo? The
What the-
answer is
what the
something
foo?
foo.
To,
A lot of
to
foo.
win, correctly identify the phrase, term, or expression that contains the word foo.
Foo.
All right. Sorry, Melissa.
Yeah,
Try
those
again.
Kicks was fast as lightning.
Oh,
How did that
I feel
possibly
so
go
sad.
south? Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Dave in Puyallup.
Hiya, Dave.
Hi, guys.
Okay.
Good morning. Is it Kung Fu?
It is Kung Fu.
All right.
Yeah, it's Kung Fu, man.
Congratulations, Dave.
Oh, I wanted to hear the song, man.
I can see Danny's
Ooh.
starting to dance.
In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
Congratulations, Dave in Puyallup. It was indeed Kung Fu. You are going to see the Foo Fighters.
I feel so bad for Melissa.
For Melissa.
Try again tomorrow, Melissa.
Yeah, it'll be something foo.
With Joy Formidable will be opening up for the Foo Fighters September 1st. Safeco Field. Dave is going to the Jeep Winners window in our lobby to get his tickets. And the rest of you can try again tomorrow at 7:20. What the Foo returns tomorrow. And next, the big news of the day.
We still have.
Alrighty, the big news of the day is brought to you by Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE or go online to goldbergjones.com.
Well, the story that everybody is talking about this morning involves a woman in Indonesia. She was gardening, 54 years old, was tending her vegetable garden near her village when she went missing. 54 years old. They said, well, where's Mom? And her family went to look for her, but only found her belongings, including sandals. The family and the villagers started to search for the woman. 50 yards away from where her belongings were found, a snake with a bloated belly.
A terrible sign.
23-foot python. The villagers got together, killed the snake, carried it into the village. They cut open the snake's belly, and there she was, inside, intact, fully clothed.
Oh, wow.
Did she
gonna survive?
Did she jump out and say ta-da?
Yeah.
I wish I could say yes. She did not survive.
Well, that's messed up, Sarah.
Plus,
I think I killed her.
How does a snake get an ambulatory 54-year-old? I mean, I'm 58. I'd run.
Right.
She was on her knees gardening.
Right?
Cutting stuff.
But that snake can't move very fast, can it? 23 foot long?
Actually, they can go pretty fast, but not as fast as you can get out of the way. There's very few ways that they can get you. What they do is bite, latch on, and then wrap around you. And they bite normally your face.
Wow.
How do you not see something coming that's going to bite your face?
Yeah, they said they could tell she was swallowed head first, and it was a reticulated python.
Yeah.
They don't normally kill humans. They often eat monkeys, pigs, and other mammals.
Jeez.
This was the second one on a human. The other one in Indonesia happened last March.
I was positive the end of the story was that she jumped out of the snake like a birthday party kid.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't breathe in there.
Yeah, right. And there's digestive fluids.
Yeah.
Bummer.
A man was taken into custody over the weekend after he barricaded himself inside a homemade armored vehicle near the Hoover Dam.
That's bound to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
When I was on a houseboat with my friend Joe Lando, our wives at the time, I think she's still his wife, our kids, it was a lovely thing, but we were just drifting in a big stupid houseboat that we barely know how to use, and we had all sorts of Homeland Security and thing pull up on us when we got about 100 yards from Hoover Dam and said, you can't be anywhere. We could open fire on you. Pay attention to where you are. There's signs and stuff, which turns out they're right. There are signs that say, go back, we'll open fire.
Well, yours was accidental, but this man was in a homemade armored vehicle.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound accidental.
Yeah, and he had a long gun rifle and some signage. One of the signs taped to this homemade vehicle said, Mr. President, release the report.
Oh, yeah, you want to release that report?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, okay, we all have to guess. Who do you guess?
Who do I guess?
Yeah.
Who do I guess the report's on?
Mine's Kennedy.
Oh, okay.
I was
I'm
thinking
thinking
Kennedy,
aliens.
Aliens are really good.
Yeah.
Area 51 is a really good one.
No, I was totally thinking Kennedy.
And?
We have no idea what the heck it means because he's crazier than a bag of cats.
Kind of wrecks my game.
Yeah, he has to have a report in
What if
mind.
you had to release the foo? Is that do I win all the tickets?
You win.
They have no idea what he was doing there because you just don't go to the Hoover Dam in a homemade armored vehicle holding signs for the president.
This guy does.
You go with a homemade armored boat. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with a vehicle?
I'd imagine if you took your boat over the Hoover Dam, that would hurt.
Yeah, very good call. It wouldn't be easy to do, though. That's not that easy a mistake to make because it's a big structure the size of an office building would be in your way. But aside from that.
And a Massachusetts high school has pulled its yearbook after the principal found that a student had used a quote generally attributed to Adolf Hitler or Joseph Goebbels under his picture. This is Andover High School. They said they were horrified to learn of the Nazi origins in this quote about making people believe lies. Now, normally with a yearbook, right, everything gets read, everything gets vetted. This somehow made it through. Nobody realized what the quote was until after the fact. They have started to recall the books, hoping people will bring these yearbooks back.
What's the whole quote?
Derek, do you have the whole quote?
Yes, I do. It is, make the lie big, keep it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it.
And they were going with Hitler on that?
It's attributed typically to Hitler or Goebbels.
Wow, that's I wouldn't have not thought that.
Did the kid know? Did he do it intentionally?
Yes, they believe the kid did it intentionally, and he is regretting it.
You can't quote Hitler in your yearbook.
No.
Nope.
No.
And
if the quote was, "Hey, I only have one testicle," that's definitely Hitler.
Yeah. And this kid didn't get away with it. Like he should go with something more obscure, like a deep cut.
Well, it also could be Lance Armstrong.
The B-side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what's his face? Green. Andy Green? No, what the hell is his name?
Oh, Tom.
Tom Green. That guy.
Oh, yeah.
No, his would have been, I'm not really funny.
And another social media challenge is circulating. Although many don't believe this one will take off, it did take some victims over the weekend. A teenager was arrested and is accused of accidentally shooting his friend while participating in this challenge. According to sheriff's deputies, there was a 911 call. The caller said his friend had been shot, and they went to talk to the 17-year-old. The 16-year-old was being taken into the hospital, had been shot in the face. Now, they had been driving around.
The immediate suspect is Dick Cheney.
This is a social media challenge where two people point weapons at each other, and they believe that this challenge, you're not supposed to shoot anybody, but he accidentally pulled the trigger and shot his friend in the face.
But the challenge is to point guns?
Yeah, I've actually seen this on YouTube, although I've seen it with like toy guns. People are mocking it. But because YouTube obviously takes the real guns off if they get up, then they take them off right away. But one friend walks up on another friend and pulls a weapon on him and says something like, "You lacking," and the other guy's supposed to pull his weapon as well. It's like to make sure that everyone's carrying a weapon.
Oh my goodness!
You don't want to be the guy who's lacking.
Lacking?
Lacking means, I guess, without a gun.
I thought they meant, "Are you a werewolf?" But then that's lacking.
Not a good challenge.
No.
Kids.
No.
Even with the toy guns, because some of them are so realistic looking, let's just not pull those out in public either.
You ever see the magic trick or illusion, as Penn and Teller might like to say it, where they catch a bullet in their mouths?
Yeah.
There's a guy, because that's what I thought this was going to be. The challenge was to redo this. There was a guy who used to do that, and there was no trick. He just caught it in this device inside his mouth that the bullet wouldn't go through. And guess what happened?
He died.
Right in the face he got.
Yeah,
So it was something to do with the magic trick.
Well, this guy's facing all sorts of charges, but the kid, believe it or not, is going to be okay.
Wow.
I mean, disfigured, I would imagine, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, but, a bullet scar, the ones I have seen, including the one I kind of possess, although that's a grandiose BB, but it leaves just a nice big dent in your face or a hole in your face.
I guess that's what happens if you're lacking, though.
If you're lacking.
And World Cup is completely underway. A lot of surprises. Mexico beating Germany, one of the big surprises. Iceland, a tie with Argentina.
Yeah.
That was
a huge
insane.
upset.
But they said with this World Cup being underway that there are a lot of rituals, just like with every sport. Michael Jordan, he used to wear UNC shorts under his uniform. A lot of people have special gloves or a bat, a hat. Well, in the World Cup, Nigeria, a lot of their fans are in Russia, and they are bringing chickens to the stadium.
Of course they are.
Are they alive or are
Yes.
they dead?
They are alive chickens.
No, is that Prince that's there? Is he allowed to travel?
I bet they played over the weekend. I bet $5, but only because they told me they would give me $5,000. If I bet $5, I just put it in their account, and then regardless of whether they win or lose, I get $5,000 back. Yeah, so it was a good deal.
Yeah, they have been told by Russian officials you cannot bring in the chickens.
Why can't you bring chickens?
You can't bring pets to any sporting event.
I don't think they're pets. Are they?
I don't know if the plan was to sacrifice them or if it's just a good luck charm. But to their games in Nigeria, they bring live chickens.
I kind of like it, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool.
You don't want to be the Nigerian who's caught lacking without
his chicken.
Yeah.
That's the big news of the day, which is brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for Men, 1-800-DIVORCE or online at goldbergjones.com.
Hey, stay with us because coming right up, it's business news with Jim the Flagger.
And now, business news from Jim the Flagger.
Two of our biggest brick and mortar chains are shaking off calls of a retail apocalypse by announcing better than expected quarterly earnings. Both Macy's and Walmart seem to be weathering the Amazon effect, and both are posting record profits and growth, despite the continued shrinking of traditional retail sales. My old pal Jeff Bezos isn't worried, though. If they get any bigger, he'll just buy them both, like he does every other damn thing on the planet. Go get him, Jeffy boy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. You know what also is an iHeart radio station? As a matter of fact, it just seems to be all radio stations at all times, and that would be the iHeart Radio app. It's all your favorite music, like I just said. Favorite stations all on the iHeart Radio app, and it's free of charge. Check it out. It's got the new playlist radio, perfect for any mood that you might be in, activity or moment in your life this week. Celebrate the 70th anniversary of Vinyl Records' debut. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Nice. That's very cool.
I totally
That's cool.
did not know that.
Tori knew that.
Yeah, the vinyl experience at classic rock stations. Get it right away. Get the iHeartRadio app.
Well, we've all been hearing a lot about genealogy. A lot of people have been doing genealogy, building family trees, and some people also get their DNA tested, which helps them build their family tree.
Yeah, or get arrested.
In some
Totally
cases, you can get arrested or find criminals, I should say.
Yeah.
But
you find that somebody you're related to is a criminal. If they get it done, then you're the criminal. It's a new game.
But if you go to, say, 23andMe, they run your DNA and they'll tell you you have matches. You've got a second cousin or a third cousin or a first cousin. And most people are finding it interesting. You can discover something about your family. In one case, though, we found out on Friday, a woman doing genealogy research found out her parents were not her parents. She had been accidentally switched at birth. So she went and found the woman who, I guess, in a way, had her identity.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are now friends. But through genealogy, they realized their parents weren't their parents.
When Amy did it for her family, it came back. There's a 98% chance that her mom is their mom, which, like, theoretically, that shouldn't be a thing brought up, in that household. I thought there was a pretty good chance she wasn't really related.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they all, I don't know, they all
Well, there's a 2% chance, apparently.
They all kind of look like each other and things like that. I don't think that she does. She looks more, not kidding around, Asian. When she has a picture of her as like a little kid, she looks like a little Asian girl.
Really?
And she still has some of those traits, and they don't. I think there's a conspiracy going on here.
But so she wanted to make sure there wasn't anything unusual about her family history and found out there is not.
No, they're not amazing in any way. They're all turns out they're all related. Who knew?
Well, Danny, have you discovered something unusual about your own family?
I'm more than I thought this was really interesting. Amy didn't find it as fascinating as I did. She thought it was, that. I thought it was earth-shattering, to be honest with you. My name is Dante Bonaduce.
Mm-hmm.
What would you assume I am?
Italian.
Yeah, so would
for
I.
sure.
Well, I am. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a shade more English and Irish.
Ah.
Who the hell-
then Italian?
I'm Dante Bonaduce. I can't. They're fine countries. I'm all great, but I am Italian.
You can't get more Italian than
Dante Bonaduce, except for my son, Count Dante Bonaduce.
I think that's been happening to a lot of people, and even Ancestry is making a commercial about it where this guy is wearing leader lederhosen. He's like, I'm German, and then got his results back, and he's like wearing a kilt. I'm Scottish.
But unlike that guy, I'm at least very Italian, just not completely.
Yeah.
That guy, no German at all. I found that's a great commercial.
I found out something unusual about my family. My father kind of let this cat out of the bag that in the early 1970s, he was telling me some party he went to, and he was with his friend Abby and Timothy. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, and then, the police eventually came and got Abby Hoffman, and Timothy Leary just went down a different path as us.
He was talking about Abby Hoffman?
He was hanging out in the 70s with Abby Hoffman and Timothy Leary.
Super weird.
And my dad's straight-laced MIT guy. Like,
right.
What are you hiding?
And what's the answer?
Oh, he just said it's just circles, the collegiate circles of going to in Cambridge, Massachusetts,
right.
Being at MIT, all these smarty McSmarty pants all hanging out together trying to be philosophical.
I would think the people with advanced degrees would hate being known as Smarty McSmarty pants. I know what you're saying.
I was horrified. You shouldn't tell me those things. Well, you guys listening, when did you discover something unusual about your own family? What was it? Share your story by calling 800-252-1025 or text in 90627.
So these genealogy things, they're super. Everybody's into them these days. Even me, I kind of like them. This one lady doing some research found out, switched at birth. That would be a surprise. When did you discover something unusual about your very own family? Here's the phone number, 1-800-252-1025, or text us at 90627.
Let's talk to Kozak in Sumner.
Kozak!
Good morning, everybody. How's it going?
It's all good. What do you got for us?
All right, so this is a really weird story. When I was a little kid, I'd go to, I lived in Arizona, and my grandma would take us, me and my brother, into the middle of the desert, and they'd go into this building and just leave us outside. We're not allowed inside. Turns out she was the leader of this church cult that worshipped this hand of a petrified, they said it was a petrified hand of an angel.
Wow. Is that what they said? That's so cool. Weird, man.
Oh. Paul just said that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's Paul's dream to be a cult leader.
Like, I've been to a lot of churches, and none of them were that cool, None of them go, we've got the answer right here. It's a petrified angel wing.
Okay, that I went into a church with my lovely bride, and there was one of the apostles' feet.
Wow.
I've seen a lot of reliquaries.
I love those things, man.
I have not seen a cult where they worship them.
Yeah, pass it around.
Well, it would be a normal church if it wasn't weird. That's weird.
Well, and then to discover, too, that grandma is the leader. That is so bizarre.
No offense, but they've got to be having orgies, right?
Why
you
would you
worship
say that?
the petrified hand and it's a cult. Isn't everybody having sex with everybody? Isn't that the law?
That's just what you wish.
What kind of crappy cult is it if you're not having group sex?
Normally, they're only allowed to have sex with the leader of the cult.
That's true.
So his Kozak's grandma
had sex with a petrified hand.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling. Kozak.
Thanks, Kozak.
That's the last time we hear from Kozak.
Yeah.
When did you discover something unusual about your own family? That's the question we're asking. Let's hear from Joe in historic Kent.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, I was at my wife's grandmother's birthday party, and there was a banjo player with the group, and my wife's aunt said her brother-in-law could play a lot better, and I was like, well, my second cousin could play a lot better, and he only had a little finger and a thumb on his right hand. And she was like, oh, that's funny, so's my brother-in-law. And then we realized that it was the same person.
So let me see if I get this right. Your brother-in-law has a thumb and a pinky and can really play the bejesus out of a banjo, and so does somebody's son-in-law or
He
something?
found out he's related to his wife.
Yeah, his wife's family and his family are the same family.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't get that at all. Yeah, I got that.
No wonder they're all such great banjo
Yeah,
players.
no kidding.
They all got pretty mouths.
Richard in Seattle, did you discover something unusual about your own family?
Yes, I did. I found out that my grandfather, in his younger days, he rode with an outlaw named Pancho Villa, He's kind of like a Robin Hood of Mexico.
You don't have to explain Pancho Villa, man. Pancho Villa is a very big, important historical character.
That's pretty badass.
That is way. I would
Grandpa
love to
wrote
find out I was related to Pancho Villa. I would immediately move to Mexico and buy a hacienda or some such thing, and I'd get a one of those coat of armor things.
Well, he was related to him by proxy. His grandfather rode with Pancho Villa. So they were in the same posse.
That's still pretty cool.
That's still pretty cool.
It is very cool.
I don't know if I'm moving to Mexico over.
Yeah, exactly.
How about this? A text into 90627. My great uncle was the sheriff of London and friends with Thomas Cromwell.
Oh, that's
yeah,
neat.
that's something.
Henry VIII
Yeah.
times.
That is definitely something. All right, I got one. How about this one? I found out at a young age that my grandfather, or great grandfather, and this is why we ended up in America, killed a guy.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Killed him with a 2x4, like not an accidental thing, and beat him to death. So you'd think, well, that's enough. And then I found out years later, oh no, he killed another person. This one, a lady, in a drunk driving accident, except he was driving a mule cart. How the hell do you kill someone with the mule's drunk?
So your grandpa killed not one but two people.
Two people, yeah.
Wow, you come from a long line of murderers.
Of murderers, allegedly.
Why? I'm not sure why. Jeff in Port Orchard, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My dear departed mother told me that I was a distant relative of Jesse James.
I'd hang on to that. That's pretty neat.
Well, is it true?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why she would lie about it. She didn't want to tell my dad for some reason.
If you do the 23andMe thing or whatever, will they tell him?
Yeah.
They says 98% chance you're related to the James family?
He will be able to see that information.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way,
But didn't Jesse James have to do 23andme.com as well to find out?
That's what's so neat about it, though. It's a relative of his. So
Yeah.
as long as there is some sort of DNA
on
that
the mother's
belongs-
side or some such thing.
Either side.
But by the way, you might want to look into it. I don't know who is going to go and glom onto this thing. Jesse James, not the wonderful character history makes him out to be.
No, we know, and that's why she didn't want to tell Dad because she's bad blood.
He continued the Confederate fighting for years after it was a good idea. I don't know that it was ever a good idea.
Well, I guess you'd also be able to figure out if Jesse James's family, any family members procreated, because the line could have died off.
Yeah. I believe they did.
And what about James and Bothell? Did you discover something unusual about your own family?
Good morning, all.
Morning.
I don't know. Well, that's my grandfather, too, but I don't think he's notorious as the last callers. But anyway, growing up with him, he was always grandpa. But when I got 14 years old, my mom told me that he's not my maternal grandfather. He's actually my great uncle.
Oh, that's
my
confusing.
my dad was adopted.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah, but it was still in the family.
Right, I got
it
that.
was my maternal grandfather's brother adopted my dad.
You know what a good one is in that it would be Jack is it Nicholson, the actor? Yeah, Jack Nicholson found out that his sister was his mother, and his mother was his grandmother.
Crazy.
That's pretty weird.
And what about Jesse in Medina? Did you discover something unusual about your own family?
Yes. As it turns out, we had some relatives that had set out on the Oregon Trail, and they were orphaned. There were 7 children, and they were orphaned like within 30 days. And they finally, the crew on the trail took them in, and they were adopted by the Whitmans, Dr. Whitman and his wife, and witnessed the Whitman Massacre.
Well, that's scary.
I don't know the Whitman.
It's a famous battle of Native American and then settlers battling each other. A lot of people died.
Wow, I never even heard of it. Alan, when did that happen?
18 something something.
Wow,
It was the summer of 18 something something.
I never heard anything about it.
Mid-1800s in Washington, but you think about how many of these types of battles there were when people started to push west and wanted it to be their land, and there were already people here.
Yeah, that would put a monkey wrench in things.
Yeah. Hey, it's Candy Graham.
Hey, Candy Graham.
Good morning. Yes, I used to live in Walla Walla, and I know very well about the Whitman Massacre.
Wow.
But anyway, found out my family on my mother's side knew William Wallace of Braveheart.
Really?
Wow.
That's
but they were
so cool.
They were members of the people that what do you call it? Were against him.
Oh, the British.
Yeah. They betrayed William Wallace.
Oh.
Yeah. Didn't they gut him and then draw and quarter
Drawn
them?
and quartered.
Which I never realized till later in life that meant what it said.
Yeah.
They tie one of your arms, both your arms and legs to horses, and then pull you to pieces, and then send you to the the skirts of the kingdom.
Not very pleasant.
That's very unpleasant.
Now, Paul, you discovered that your mom was a bank robber. Does it get any deeper than that? Does you get some more skeletons in that closet?
My whole family's criminals. One night, I'm in high school. I'm like a sophomore in high school, I think, and we're watching TV, and we're watching like the California's Most Wanted, like a local version of America's Most Wanted, and there's my Aunt Norma on the screen. She was a registered nurse. I think for real she was a registered nurse, but she was scamming elderly people. So she would like come work in your home and then steal your Social Security checks and rob you.
When was this?
This is when I was in high school. My Aunt Norma, who was like one of my favorite aunts. I was born on her birthday and super close to her. She was a total criminal. Later she went to live with her daughter, my cousin. And like one night just robbed their convenience store, like took everything and filled up a truck and left. Total criminal.
Wow.
She fits right into the family though. We got bank robbers. We have my mom was a getaway driver in a armed robbery at a hotel. Two uncles that were bank robbers robbed a bunch of banks.
Well, and you work at a radio station.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to turn up the I'm interesting nozzle, man. Your family's
I'm
fascinating.
trying to be on the straight and narrow.
Don't do it. You were born to rob banks.
Let's talk to Gisela in Auburn.
Gisela.
Yes.
What's up?
Well, I found out that my former in-laws were related to some of the members of the Donner Party.
Oh,
really?
Good thing you divorced that family.
Yeah, don't have them over for dinner.
Yeah. Well, no, ironically, the Breens were the eaters.
Oh.
The what were the eaters?
Her family were the eaters.
Yeah. So I'm no longer with that family, but I love them dearly.
Well, they're a wonderful group of people. My father-in-law's cabin is on Donner Lake, right up there where all that happened. So I looked into it as of the last remaining surviving eater, as she so well put it. He spent the rest of his life because they couldn't get Juppy. They were shunned.
Right.
And then he opened a restaurant.
Yes.
And people thought that was fascinating, and they went.
Tori, have you discovered anything unusual about your own family?
Okay, so my grandmother recently informed me that my family's related to Sir Henry Norris, groom of the stool for Henry VIII, who was beheaded for having an affair with Anne Boleyn.
Whoa.
Kind of crazy, right?
That's pretty cool.
That is, I didn't know that's how Henry VIII got it, at least for doing that. So he looked at their poop, right?
Yeah.
He'd roll it around and say what was wrong. No, that's what they would do.
It's true.
The British not the only people that did that. Chinese did that. Japanese did that. Well, the guy that read the poop would go, oh, no, you got to have more beef and less grains and stuff like that.
That's what Tori's future job is, keeping it all in the family.
Right on.
Exciting.
One of my
Derek,
favorite
top
shows.
that. Did you discover something unusual about your own family?
I have a relative who got in so many fights growing up that he actually got kicked out of the town that he was born and grew up in. But then his brother was the sheriff, so he let him back in.
This sounds like a Western. Is this a true story?
It was Florida.
That says a lot then.
Thanks for your calls and texts. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the news. News is brought to you by Car Pros Renton Kia. An off-duty police officer was attacked over the weekend by a group of young adults at the Redondo Beach launch in Des Moines. Police say that the officer was trying to get his boat out of the water and asked the group to move their vehicles out of the way so he could get his boat. When the officer got his trailer and tried to get his boat out, the group reportedly started threatening him and punched him in the head. One person in the group then went and got a gun and pointed it at the police officer. Police scattered, and police said that the group scattered, and likely it's because
why'd the group scatter?
I was just going to say, likely because somebody started recording the incident.
Oh, no, I was thinking somebody shot back.
Yeah.
I've never met a cop that doesn't carry his gun off duty.
Right, yeah.
Now, they said the officer did suffer minor injuries, and there are no suspects in custody.
Jeez.
A man was found dead inside of a vehicle that he was shot over the weekend. And deputies say this was on Northeast 146th Street, and it happened about 10 o'clock on Saturday night. So the police got reports of a shot fired. They arrived at the scene, and the man was dead in his vehicle.
Again, no suspects?
No suspects.
Quite the weekend for violent crime in our area, though.
I bet it's not above normal.
Really? It seems like today we've talked about half dozen shootings.
Yeah, I feel like we do that all the time.
It definitely seemed to me like we had an extraordinary number of violence over the weekend. There was another shooting in Belltown that left a man with life-threatening injuries. That happened about 2:30 in the morning on Sunday, just after bars closed. This was on First Avenue on the border of downtown and Belltown. And again, no suspects in custody. No descriptions.
There's cameras everywhere. You would think you can find these guys.
Yeah. A lot of times, though, I mean, there's eyewitnesses, too, but they don't want to talk.
And eyewitnesses are often really wrong, which is a surprise.
A boy in Idaho has contracted the first case of the Bubonic Plague that state has seen in 26 years. The kid is being treated with antibiotics. They say he is in stable condition, and they're not sure how he got the Bubonic Plague.
He was bitten by Shakespeare's twig.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it.
They're not sure if he got it in Idaho or on a recent trip that he took to Oregon. Now, they said
both those places are a little too close for comfort with the plague.
Well, are you feeling that you might get the plague any second now?
I mean, if the plague's in Oregon and Idaho,
it's surrounding us.
Well, I mean, I'd like to avoid getting the Black Death.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, go ahead and do that. Wow, you're a success.
For now.
The last time that the bubonic plague had a massive outbreak killing a lot of people was just last year. Over 200 people were killed in Madagascar. But in Idaho, it's been 26 years. I'm not sure when we've had one last in Washington. I'm hoping it's been a long
I would assume it's been a long time, but I'd have guessed 1350. Who would have guessed, the
Not
other
a
day.
couple of years ago.
There was a massive earthquake in Osaka, Japan this morning, 6.1. They said that they had to halt a lot of factories. There were bursting water mains. The concern, of course, was for tsunami.
Sure.
But there was not a tsunami warning that needed to be issued. That's the good news. The bad news is there are 3 fatalities and about 20 to 30 people injured at this count.
Man, Japan takes a literal beating. They have tsunamis for real. That's the only one I've actually seen in the world.
Right.
Oh, no, there was another one in Taipei or Thailand. But, there's earthquakes every couple of minutes. All their buildings are supposedly built to withstand earthquakes. How do you know that? How do you know what you're going to do when a 9.0 comes your way?
There's sort of a nice story in the news. A little naughty, little nice.
Paul and I will wreck it.
Yeah. Although I'm liking the little naughty part.
That kind
Tell
of
us
naughty.
that part first.
Well, I like to say, there's a nice story in the news, but no, this is a terrible story.
Oh,
with a
all right,
nice
then.
ending. There's a
All
happy
right.
ending.
Oh, nice.
Okay, well, then that's
Again, we're
good.
back on track.
A Texas police officer is being commended after she replaced a sick man's groceries and medication after his stuff was stolen from a Walmart parking lot. This police officer, she is with the Houston Police Department, and said that the man, who's about 60 years old, was walking out of Walmart and had some sort of diabetic episode and collapsed. Emergency responders and this police officer arrived, and when he came to, all of his groceries had been stolen.
Well, that's just rude.
Yeah.
How awful is that?
Man's dying on the ground and you're picking up his Twinkies or whatever.
Did they shove your wallet into his mouth so he didn't bite his tongue off?
No, they took his wallet.
That's terrible.
Also, tongue off.
Yeah, that's one. Also, I mean epilepsy. Epilepsy, not diabetes.
Same thing.
I was just waiting for you to correct me.
And why is this guy buying Twinkies anyway if he's in diabetic shock?
Why are you trying to feed him Twinkies when he's going into diabetic shock? No, so the police officer could tell that he was on a fixed income and that he was struggling. So she went back into Walmart with him, bought him vegetables, oatmeal, his medication, a couple of essential items. And somebody saw this and reported it to the press. She did not toot her own horn. She said, I don't want anyone to toot my own horn. If you see somebody...
A lot of people tooting horns around here.
And I don't know if technically if you can toot somebody else's own horn. I think you can't do that.
If you can, I'm up for it.
If I could toot my own horn, I would just not leave the house. I'd be at home tooting.
She said...
Isn't that what you do most of the day, sit at home tooting?
That's an entirely different kind of tooting.
She said, if you see something like this, it's just about paying it forward. You're not doing it for publicity or for getting accommodations.
What does
or
she
anything.
care if I get a little publicity out of it? Remember I bought those kids $1,000 worth of baseball equipment?
You did, yeah.
Well, we ended up on the news, and I thought that was the right thing for them to do. Come and say, you guys don't know how bitchin' Danny Bonaduce is. That's what the story was called.
Right.
Yeah.
There's cameras all over. If they're at a Walmart parking lot, there's cameras all over. And
Yeah.
there's somebody sitting in a security room, like zooming in on that guy who's having
hope
a
so.
epileptic seizure over his diabetes.
That is a bad person. Somebody's having a seizure and you go over and steal their oatmeal?
Absolutely. I hope they find him.
Me too.
Get his Twinkies back.
Well, you are a benevolent guy. We all hope they find him.
In Florida,
Yeah.
we know things are not right, and it's certainly not right on the beach because it's moon jellyfish season.
Awesome.
An unusual
Bunch of jellyfish with their pants down.
An unusually large swarm of jellyfish have stung 1,200 beachgoers over the last 4 days.
Wow, they're going to need a lot of Winky.
You don't suck out the venom and you don't winky on them.
You do. You do winky on them.
It's worth a
don't.
shot.
If they ask nicely.
What's really freaky about these ones, though, is a lot of the people who have been stung said that they can't get the jellyfish off, that once they get into contact, normally you just swipe it away and the jellyfish leaves. These are sticking to people's skin.
All right. If you can't get the jellyfish off, I'll show you how.
Police in Arizona.
Paul and I are sitting over here going, no, you say it. No, you say it. No, you say it.
Police in Arizona thought they were busting an ordinary case of fraud when they did some digging and found out that the man at the center of this crime has been perpetrating the same scheme at thousands of Walmart stores across the country. Police in Yuma, Arizona, said they responded to the case of a fraudulent return at Walmart. This guy brought back a computer which had all the parts removed from inside, and then he puts it back into the box and tries to take it back to the store. Well, they found out he had been doing this at Walmarts around the country. Thomas Fraudacre, age 23.
Well, what do you think is going to happen when you're dealing with Fraudacre?
Tommy Fraudster, that's his name?
Yeah. He would buy things, take it apart, take all the good stuff out, and then essentially return an empty box to Walmart. $1.3 million worth of stuff.
Walmart doesn't catch on to the empty box ruse. Remember when I bought speakers in a parking lot, and I've now been mocked for 38 years about this?
You got to put some rocks in there to
You got to
give
do
it
some
weight.
break, yeah.
Well, Tommy Fraudacre has been arrested and is charged with 6 felonies, but he owes them $1.3 million bucks.
His partner, Steve Numbnuts, was also known to be involved.
Charlie Check Bouncer.
Totally.
Another terrible story in the news.
All right.
A Texas middle school counselor turned herself into police after that student's mom found her in bed with her teenage son.
Oh.
So mom walks in, and there's 17-year-old Junior in bed with his guidance counselor.
Well, it's guidance, I guess. I'll bet there was some, the kid's young. I'll bet there was some guidance involved.
He had some questions.
Reach
She had
down
some
there,
answers.
stuff like that.
She has resigned and is surrendering to authorities because you can't go to bed with a 17-year-old student.
No.
She's 33.
Now, what happens there when, by the time this gets to court, he's an adult?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right?
No.
Age of the crime being perpetrated.
You say that like you know something.
I do know something.
Age of the crime being perpetrated by Tommy Steelerfingers or whatever everybody's name is.
It was once a very popular place to shoot, but Butte officials have caused for a ceasefire behind Big Butte, saying there are too many people shooting and there is a risk of harm from projectiles. Butte's undersheriff, George Skuletich,
I wonder how you get that job. The undersheriff. Wonder what you have to do to be the undersheriff.
Butte Park officials have been calling for enforcement of a shooting ban out of a safety concern. They said there are just too many people shooting on the backside, and that
That's
you can't,
gotta hurt a little bit.
Backside of Big Butt Butte.
Big Butte. Can't shoot in the backside of Big Butte. If you do, $500 fine or 6 months in jail.
Wow.
No more shooting behind Big Butt Butte. says the undersheriff. An animal rehab facility in Minnesota.
Well, they shouldn't drink.
We're surprised to find out the truth about a rescue kitten. This was a really cute little kitten, and somebody heard it crying for help. So they brought it to the rehab facility. And they said, look at this little kitty. And after it started to grow and meow a little bit more, that's when they realized it was a bobcat.
Oh. How stupid are these people? They should have known by the fact that I was fighting it. That it was a bobcat. That was Danny Bonaduce punching that mountain lion.
Well, it was really small, and I guess you could sort of think it was a tabby, but no, not even remotely close. This is a bobcat, and if they were to let that grow up inside rehab, it would be super dangerous.
Right. Well, it'll eat all the other cats and stuff. It doesn't realize it's of the same family, right?
Not that kind of bobcat.
What
the hell was that?
Was that Bobcat Goldthwait?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Is that Bobcat Goldthwait?
Yeah, you don't want him in your house.
No, you don't.
No, he'll eat your other cats.
Or in your rehab center.
Oh, he
should go to rehab for sure.
And it turns out there is a study that has been done to find out where the most psychopaths are.
In this room?
Yeah, radio.
Physically where? What state? What state are there the most psychopaths? Now, it's a little bit of a trick question in a way because we have places that aren't technically states.
Like Guam?
No. Washington,
Guam's
D.C.
technically a state?
Oh,
that's where all the psychopaths are.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they call them senators.
Yeah.
Well, we have seen studies where they said a large number of psychopaths go into politics and radio and our teen actors.
Yes, to all of that.
But it turns out Washington, D.C. is home to the most psychopaths in the United States. Now, at number 2 was a bit of a surprise, Connecticut. That could be all the super rich people that work in New York.
What exactly is a psychopath?
Psychopaths, I mean, there's a whole list of criteria that Derek could probably pull up, but one of them is lacking empathy.
See, I thought that was sociopath, and that's why I asked, because I was called by more than one woman a sociopath. And that's why I looked it up, and one of the things is you have no conscience whatsoever. And I think they were wrong, although I've forgotten their name, and they were crying when they left. So maybe it's my bad.
Yeah, I do get confused between the descriptions between the two, but I think the difference between psychopath and
Sociopath.
The sociopath can lead to killing people, whereas a psychopath doesn't necessarily go that direction.
Okay.
So which one did she accuse you of being?
The sociopath.
Sociopath.
But I'd kill a guy if I had to.
Do you see a distinction?
But I think that you intentionally, as a psychopath, intentionally, not only do you not care about other people's feelings, you have no to harm those people for your own personal gain. So, and that could be as easily as climbing up the corporate ladder. I want Steve down the hall to get demoted so that I can get promoted.
And which one is he?
Psychopath.
A psychopath.
So not only do I not care if Steve gets demoted, I want Steve to get demoted so that I can take his job.
Okay.
Then I'm a
All
psychopath.
right, so let me see. This study says it's about the big 5 personality traits.
That's where you go shopping for sporting goods at stupid stores.
Extroversion.
Yeah.
Neuroticism.
Yeah.
Agreeableness.
Certainly.
Consciousness. And openness to experience.
Consciousness. We're all 1/5 psychopaths.
I'm one
No
of
idea
those
what any of
things.
that.
That's you're going to be a swinger later or something.
All right, so the most: Washington, D.C., Connecticut, California, New Jersey, New York, Wyoming. The lowest in psychopathy, New Mexico.
How does Wyoming have the most amount of anything besides land where there isn't people?
They got to be going by
Per capita.
Yeah.
New Mexico, North Carolina, Tennessee, Vermont, West Virginia, the lowest ranking of psychopathy. So we're kind of smack in the middle.
Right, West Virginia. And, of
Mountain
course, the Mountain Mama.
Yeah. Take me home. And your news this morning brought to you by Car Pros Rent and Kia. We will take a quite short break, but come back with music news, some very cool TV news, and, of course, all the latest sports next. Starting with music news brought to you by Les Schwab. Rock and roll icon Paul McCartney, after much rumor and speculation, will indeed appear in carpool karaoke with James Corden.
Neat, except that James Corden stole my bit. Aside from that, I'm very excited.
Well, there was speculation because the two had been spotted together and he didn't comment until now. They said, yes, indeed, he will be taking part. It's an episode, let's see, I think it's going to be on Thursday. And they said James Corden is super excited.
You should be super excited.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, when Danny did that with Paul McCartney, it was fantastic.
No, that's not what happened.
Oh, no?
I did it with weird people that were authors, anybody. If you had a cookbook, you were in. And I did a karaoke, is what we called it.
Yeah.
And then we drove down a spiral 8-story parking ramp and crashed a lot. And the bit was, if you could do this and not scream, then you win karaoke. Nobody made it because they didn't know I was going to crash on purpose.
A vampire movie starring the late Motorhead frontman Lemmy will premiere in Los Angeles next month. This also features Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, Tracy Guns of LA Guns, and of course, Lemmy. This is something called Sunset Society, and it's a vampire movie.
Is it his hologram, or did he film it before?
He filmed it before he died.
Did Tracy Guns film it before he died?
Oh.
Am I just thinking about his career? What the hell's Tracy Guns doing to be in a movie anymore? I hung around with that guy in 1982.
Well, you're still kicking. Why can't he be?
Yeah.
That's a totally reasonable question because I was going to say, well, he took a bunch of drugs. Oh, no, that doesn't help.
And you still have a career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron Jeremy is also in this movie.
Why did you find that so funny?
I don't know, man. I stayed right. I saw it happen. Why not?
He sounded so... Wait, you still have a career?
No, I wasn't a question.
No,
It was a
totally.
statement.
Believe me, I always think Paul's trying to be mean, and I didn't hear it.
This was the only time, maybe.
Here's the premise. Welcome to the world of the Sunset Society, a secret organization in Hollywood where parties are held, musicians gather, and blood flows freely. Ace, played by Lemmy, is the head vampire in charge who likes to keep the fun going with a low profile. And he enlists the help of Ron Jeremy and a bunch of hot chicks to stop anyone from finding out.
If you want to keep a low profile, get Ron Jeremy and a bunch of hot chicks.
That should do it.
September 21st and 22nd, T-Mobile Arena, Vegas, baby. KZOK and iHeartRadio present the 2018 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Tickets are going on sale in 55 minutes. But right now, if you have a Capital One card, you can actually get in on the pre-sale. You can get all the info at iHeartRadio.com/Capital One. In entertainment news, starting with a somber story. 1 week after his sister-in-law's death, David Spade has donated $100,000 to help those affected with mental illness.
It's Kate Spade's, David Spade's sister?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Sister-in-law.
Yeah,
David
sister-in-law.
Spade's brother was married to Kate Spade. Now, he did not make the announcement, but some publications found out about it, asked his representative, and they said, yes, he did indeed donate $100,000, and went on to say, if you need some help or some guidance, call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-273-8255, that there is help out there.
And it's a lovely thought on Mr. Spade. I recently saw him on Meekum Car Auctions, or was the other one, I don't know, and he had $1 million car, and they said, why'd you buy this? And he said, man, I was drunk and showed up for the auction.
Oh.
So the guy spends his money, not always wisely.
He has $60 million, too. So,
Does he?
Yeah.
No, 59.
59.
What is everybody
After
looking
buying
at
that
but
car.
me?
No, she's saying after buying that $1 million car.
Get it?
She's listening to you.
I do now. Don't do that.
Bill Murray, actor Bill Murray, and his business partners are set to open up something that I think Danny Bonaduce might make a pilgrimage to visit. Charleston, South Carolina, they're opening up a food truck park.
Yeah. Yes to both. I want to go to Charleston and a food truck park.
Yes.
That's bitching. The best one I've ever seen is in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And they should be able to beat that.
The food truck park will reportedly be called Food Truckorama.
Good thing Bill Murray's clever.
He'll be joined by Brad Krieger and Mike Veek. Revamping this area, there'll be a monstrous bar. There'll be a room that overlooks an outdoor seating space, palm trees, and live music.
Where is this?
This is in Charleston, South
I
Carolina.
didn't even know they were capable of palm trees there.
Apparently so.
Huh, cool. Well, whatever it is, I am in completely. I think it sounds great.
Sounds pretty fun, right?
Yeah. The coolest thing I heard in the food world and touristy stuff recently was not that long ago I heard about Anthony Bourdain opening up a pier in New York City with restaurants and cookbooks and all this. I was so excited about that. But alas.
Amazon Studios says it has signed a deal with Nicole Kidman and her production company for TV and movie projects. Nicole Kidman has a company called Blossom Films, and they'll be developing original series for Amazon Prime and big screen films as well. So if Nicole Kidman wasn't successful enough already.
Yeah, Academy Award winner, Nicole Kidman. Yeah. Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm just making that up.
I mean,
Why
who doesn't
not?
have one?
I'll tell you who doesn't have one.
Man. She's rough today.
You want me to get down so you can kick me and just make it more fun? And by the way, I'm not down. I'm just short.
Just every time she attacks, think about the fact that you're going to Yakima.
That's right. Now you guys are just going to a baseball game.
Wait, where are you going?
I'm going to Yakima.
Hadn't you heard?
Birthplace of Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other guy.
Mario Batali.
Mario
Maybe
Batali.
not too excited about that one.
Which one of the Heward brothers was born there?
A little brother.
Brock.
Damon.
Damon
yeah.
Heward.
But
Yakima.
they're from Puyallup, but he was born. They must have been on a road trip or
they're
something.
from Yakima.
And my mom was born there, but she's never been there.
Which is weird.
That's what she claims. She's never been to Yakima. She was born there, but she's
one of
never
those
been there.
irresponsible road trip births you always hear about.
Right, exactly.
Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUIOA, 1-800-DUIOA. The Seattle Mariners fell to the Boston Red Sox because of Xander Bogaerts hitting a home run in the 6th inning.
Sorry, was that not the appropriate time to?
I think it was. Right? I wasn't really paying attention.
This is a 4-game set between the Mariners and the Red Sox. So tonight is 7-10 with James Paxton versus Ricky P. Rick Porcello, Big Maple. First pitch is 7-10. Something really unusual was announced for Safeco Field, despite the fact it is only spring and it's baseball season. They've announced for 5 weeks this year, Enchant will be at Seattle's Safeco Field.
Not Enchant. The Enchant?
Isn't that a porno thing?
The what?
Isn't that a porno thing?
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
So does baseball. They don't do that kind of stuff.
No, this is the world's largest Christmas light maze.
Yeah.
Oh, close.
December 23rd.
I mean, it really depends on what you're into,
Yeah,
Danny.
exactly.
December 23rd through December 30th, the world's largest Christmas light maze will be at Safeco.
Where?
At Safeco.
No.
On the
Remember,
field, right?
It's got to be the field. You can't have people running around in a maze
Why not?
on the field because they're crazy about that.
You're crazy about that.
I'm going to stop talking and just go
Like,
right.
once they put the snow down, it's okay. The grass is protected.
I think everybody's crazy and they're going to yell at you.
And tonight, the Seattle Storm play the Connecticut Sun with a 7 o'clock start time. The World Cup is underway. The funny thing about the World Cup is it's all over the world, right? So depending on which country they've chosen for this World Cup, you have to kind of do the math on the time change. The first match this morning was at 5, Egypt and Uruguay. Derek, who was the victor in that match?
Uruguay won that match 1-0.
All right, and underway right now, looks like Morocco and Iran. Do we have any score on that?
We are in the 52nd minute, and there is no score.
Oh, I wish I was there.
Well, the game match you are excited for is Portugal versus Spain. That's at 11 o'clock today. You can listen in the car on your way to
Yakima.
That's right.
Danny's taking Yakima to win the World Cup.
And the birthplace of the last World Cup winner.
Yeah.
That's Yakima.
Maybe.
The official
birthplace of Germany is Yakima.
Yes.
Totally true.
Yes.
Yeah.
The official soothsayer of the 2018 World Cup in Russia
It's Yakima.
has predicted the winner. It is a deaf white cat. And
Not
this-
like a jazz player. that's a deaf white cat.
One hip cat.
Strangely enough, I'll give you another little Friday fun fact. The majority of cats that are all white, if they are white and blue-eyed, they are 99% of the time deaf. It's just a trait.
Because your Friday fun facts are always correct and well researched. When I say, no way, believe that I know there's a way, it just seems like a no way kind of thing.
I was blown away when you all told me that all calico cats are girls.
Not all, but most, yeah.
The majority, yeah.
Which, when you hear it, you think that can't be true.
Right.
There's no
How would
way
you
to
get
do
new
that.
calico cats?
Because I think the mom eats the young males.
Okay, I see.
A deaf white cat named Achilles has predicted who will win this year's World Cup. And this took place in Russia.
Yeah.
Achilles lives at the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg.
So they don't ever get to come out.
So
Sometimes I think there's no way anybody's going to get this, but I'm going to say it anyway. All right, thank you for playing.
So who do you think the blind, white, blue-eyed Russian cat from the Hermitage predicted would win the World Cup?
Well, it's a stupid question. Yeah, come on.
Russia.
Russia, yeah.
And some terrible sports news to report this morning. Former NFL tight end Kellen Winslow Jr. had a pretty good career, 10 seasons, and his father was in the Hall of Fame. He played for Cleveland, Tampa Bay, New England, and the Jets, a prolific career at the University of Miami. He was arrested on a whole slew of horrendous charges.
Uh-oh.
Awful, awful allegations against him. And he is facing these charges in San Diego. Encinitas is specifically where
My brother used to live there.
He is facing charges of rape and plenty of sex crimes.
Wow.
Not sure what happened with Kellen Winslow Jr.
Fairly confident on what happened.
Sports This Morning brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. As you well know, it is Friday.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
We've got new movies in theaters.
I've heard that.
And every Friday we have a movie expert in his house.
When's he going to show up?
Our movie expert is Derek. Derek, somebody say hi to people.
Hold your applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Might be a bit much.
All right, we have got Incredibles 2 opening up in theaters. This movie is expected to do huge numbers at the box office. The first one was awesome.
Why'd they take 14 years to do another one?
Don't know what took so flipping long. Craig T. Nelson, Holly Hunter, Samuel L. Jackson, Bob Odenkirk, Catherine Keener, Sophia Bush, Isabella Rossellini, and that's just some of the people appearing in Incredibles 2.
And they're not picking up 14 years in the future either.
Nope.
No, they're not.
Which is weird.
I noticed that right away because I thought Holly Hunter would say, oh, I'm so happy I haven't aged or some joke like that. But the Incredibles have not aged.
It looks great, though.
Yep.
Well, in this one, Helen is called on to lead a campaign to bring the supers back. And Bob navigates the day-to-day heroics of normal life at home with Violet, Dash, and baby Jack Jack. We don't know what his superpowers are until this movie. Incredibles 2, Derek, the movie expert. What are the reviewers saying?
Pixar is perfect again, 94% fresh.
Wow. Very cool.
Great.
No, so the plot of the last movie was they did too much damage being superheroes, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they went into exile.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the exact plot of a Marvel Comics thing with the Avengers?
Yeah, and like
2 movies ago?
X-Men too. as
Yeah.
well.
Seems
Also opening up is Superfly.
Superfly. Well, I would have thought if you said, can they make another Superfly? I'd say no. It was the most racist thing ever. It was just a different time.
This is a guy named Director X. He's the director. His name is Director X, and he does music videos, and he is the man behind the remake of Superfly, a film that helped define a genre and its characters' look, sound, and feel. It's being reimagined.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds, they were called blaxploitation movies. And like it took 5 minutes. People go, I don't know that that's good. I don't know that we should do that.
This time it stars Trevor Jackson, Jason Mitchell, Michael Kenneth Williams, and Jennifer Morrison. This is rated R. Derek, Superfly, what are they saying?
I want to fly away right out of the theater, 52% rotten.
I had a feeling on that one.
All right, the movie some people are anticipating is Tag. This is based on a true story, but a rated R take on it.
Looks funny.
Ed Helms, Rashida Jones, Isla Fisher, Leslie Bibb, Hannibal Buress, John Hamm, Jeremy Renner. For 1 month every year, 5 highly competitive friends hit the ground running for a no-holds-barred game of Tag, a game they've been playing since the 1st grade. Tag, the comedy, rated R movie. Derek, what do we think?
It tagged me right in my funny bone, 60% fresh.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, that is good.
Yeah.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Because it looks really funny, but it also looks like, oh, it could just be everything's in the trailer.
A one-trick pony, absolutely. But I'll go see it.
Loving Pablo is opening up. This is a drama crime biography that stars real-life couple Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz and Peter Skarsgård. Rated R, Loving Pablo chronicles the rise and fall of Pablo Escobar and his love affair with Colombia's most famous journalist. Now, of course, this is a reign of terror, a feared drug lord. I'd imagine this movie's a little heavy.
Yeah.
Derek, what are the reviewers saying about Loving Pablo?
If you want to see anything about Pablo Escobar, just go watch Narcos on Netflix. It's fantastic. This movie is not 35% rotten.
Well said. Hey, so I'm at Battle of the Boat 116 the other night, right?
Yeah.
And people come in every now and again with real fancy outfits, right? But most of these guys are just starting off, and they can't afford those crazy flashy outfits. There's this one guy, his robe and his trunks are like silk screened and super neat. And then I realized by the third round, it's Pablo Escobar's mugshot is on this guy's trunk. And then he knocked the other guy out. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Also opening up, Gotti, which stars John Travolta, Stacy Keach, and Kelly Preston. This is directed by Kevin Connolly, rated R, and it's all about a young John Gotti finding his way into the Gambino crime family, where he's taken under the wing of the underboss Agnello de la Croce, who's played by Stacy Keach. Now, over time, we know about the issues with the Gambino family and trust and John Gotti having the boss removed and taking over for the family.
Right.
Gotti, heavy stuff, rated R. What are the reviewers saying, Derek?
Gotti is rolling in his grave and someone is probably going to get whacked. 0% rotten.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
How's
bad.
that possible?
Because they don't let anybody review it, right?
No, it has 11 reviews. And
Yikes.
It's
Oh my God,
0%.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
The last time we heard of a movie getting that poor of a review was that one with Eddie Murphy. It holds the record for the worst rated movie in history.
Oh, no, you can't beat 0.
Right.
Well, that number will probably change as more reviewers, because 11 is still a low number. But nobody can think of that Eddie Murphy movie, huh? I keep wanting to call it Jackass, and that's totally
I can
not
think
it.
of My Girl Wants to Party All the Time, a song that
Party
would
all the
get
time.
0
Party all
tomatoes.
the time.
Yeah.
No? No one?
I don't
No
know it. No.
Bueller?
No.
All those trailers are up right now at KZOK.com if you would like to check those out to see what movies you want to go to. But we're also giving people a chance to win movie tickets. Isn't that right, Derek?
Yes, it's Free Movie Friday.
Free Movie Friday.
And Adam Tickets, the best app to book your movie tickets, wants to hook you up with tickets to see Tag, which hits theaters today. Based on the true story of 5 friends that have been playing tag for 30 years. Text WIND, that's WIND, to Adam1, ATOM, and the number 1 for your chance to win. Standard data and text message rates may apply.
Thank you very much. The movie I was talking about might have been Norbit.
Terrible.
Eddie
Terrible.
Murphy. And The Adventures of Pluto Nash, and that one did not get good reviews.
I didn't
either.
even see that one. I don't even know what that is.
Paul.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor we've got an awesome prize for next week.
We've got tickets all next week at 7:20 to see the Foo Fighters at Safeco Field.
That's a pretty big ticket.
Ooh, as I said, an awesome prize. All right, well, that's something to look forward to.
You know, we did a segment at 8 o'clock this morning because Target had to apologize about doing something. Another guy had to apologize about doing minor things that are getting huge apologies. And the question was, when did you have to apologize? And I just realized right now, I owe an apology to Steve Slayton.
Oh.
You know, the other day I was saying something about Steve Slayton and what a great disc jockey he's going to come in here. Oh, my God, Steve Slayton's no disc jockey. He is the spinner of dreams. And he's going to spin your, like every day at noon, listen, and he's going to, Steve Slayton's spinning your dreams. So I just wanted to apologize. Sorry, man. So Steve Slayton's going to come in this door and he's going to play some classic rock and roll for you. So we should get out of his way. Bye.